After the first 3 innings last night, it was all Angels. Now, as we approach Game 2 tonight from Anaheim, the Astros look to get even in the series and in the process snap a 9-game winning streak for the Halos. It's a clash of veteran right-handers, Scott Feldman and Jared Weaver. Hi, everybody. Alan Ashby and Jeff Blum with you. Julia Morales joins in just a little while. Last night, Astros had been playing good baseball, but they came up against a juggernaut in the Angels.
Yeah, they really did. These guys are on a roll, scoring 7+ runs in those 8 games so far. But, yeah, timing is everything sometimes, and they ran into a buzzsaw last night.
Timing has been an issue for Scott Feldman. Started the year a little bit rugged, and the ERA kept escalating, but lately he has been really good.
Yeah, kind of had that bicep issue early on, April, May, June, but since then, July, August, September, you see that number dropping. You don't want to see your stocks go this way, but ERAs are good when they start heading downhill like that. He's been really effective throwing that fastball cutter combo on both sides of the plate. We saw it in Oakland where he went 8 1/3 to back up that complete game he had at home at Minute Maid Park. But what he does with that fastball is it sets up that breaking ball. We know he throws a high percentage of those breaking balls, usually does it to get to those strikeout counts and puts guys away with it. But expect good things against this tough hitting lineup for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Mike Trout and the Angels kept their winning streak alive last night, but the Astros gave them plenty of help on the way toward win number 9 in a row. Can they bounce back and make a statement about how far they've come this season? Lineups and first pitch are straight ahead.
Okay, where is it?
It is very warm as this game is set to kick off here just in a couple minutes between the Astros and the Angels. When the Astros showed up today, they still had to pick themselves up after a tough loss. It was the toughest loss that this team has taken here in a long time, and it's even more frustrating when you open the door for your opponent, especially when you're facing a really good opponent like the Angels. Coming into last night, this team had won 8 straight. But through the first 3, things were good for the Astros until the 4th. That was Jonathan Villar mishandling a routine throw from Dexter Fowler. It allowed a run to score there. That was in the 4th, and then it got worse for this team. Jake Marisnick, who usually has been really great in right field. Just could not make the grab. That was a Colin Cowgill fly ball. That allowed a run to score, and it let the runners move up to second and third. The Astros eventually went on to lose this game 11-3 with 3 errors. And you're looking at the third right there with Mark Krause. But talking to these guys in the clubhouse immediately after the game, nobody used excuses. They know that the type of team they're playing right now is really hot in the Angels, and there's no room for error when you're playing a team like that who now has won 9 straight and are looking for a 10th straight tonight. What's more important, guys, before I toss it up to you, is that last year at the end of the season, this team lost a lot of games, 15 straight to finish off the year. A lot of the guys that are on this team were on that team last year and remember what that was like. They're doing everything that they can to bounce back today and make sure that doesn't happen again. Ashton Blum.
Yeah, thanks, Julia. And clearly it's a ball club right now, Blummer, in my estimation, under Tom Lawless, that has a direction of saying, let's go have a lot of fun while we play good baseball.
Well, winning is fun. And we saw him bounce back from a tough loss in Oakland. Hopefully they do the same thing here today.
Jose Altuve had 2 more hits last night, has 202 on the season, leads the league at 337, leads in hits, leads in stolen bases. It's just more of what we've been watching all year long.
Yeah, and kind of scuffled there in that Seattle series. And I think what you're seeing right here in that first game against the Angels is going the other way, getting back to the old Altuve, staying inside that baseball, shooting the ball the other way. But the man can hit, and he never expect these slumps to last too long for him.
Yeah, he can really swing it. Keeps doing it nightly. The starting lineup brought to you by Jack in the Box for the Astros. Robbie Grossman in the top spot. He's in left. Followed by Jose Altuve at second, and the DH, Chris Carter. Middle 3, Jason Castro. He's the catcher. In center field, it's Alex Presley tonight, and Jake Marisnick back in right. And the bottom 3, Marwin Gonzalez at short. At first base, John Singleton, and Gregorio Petit gets a start at third.
On the mound for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, it will be Jared Weaver. Tied for the league lead with Max Scherzer in wins. He's got 16, looking for that 17th, making his 32nd start. He has 4 career starts against Houston. He is 2-2 in those 4 starts with a 3.38 ERA. It was a tough luck loser last time at Minute Maid Park when he went 6 strong, giving up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, and struck out 6 in that game.
And by the way, Jose Altuve, who will keep trying to defend that lead in the batting race tonight against Jared Weaver, has not had a great time. 0 for 10 this year, 2 for 13 lifetime. So we'll see how Robbie Grossman gets things started. A lot of focus in this last 15 games, I think, will be had not only by us, but by fans around Major League Baseball watching Jose Altuve. Weaver set to go. And his first pitch of the evening brings a high fastball, gets a strike called. And that could set a tone for the evening if that's the strike zone. Jared Weaver, once upon a time, a hard thrower. Not so much anymore, and yet he survives. There's the high heat at 87. 92 degrees here in Anaheim, California.
It's a good chance the temperature is going to be higher than some of the pitches we see here today.
Just had the Zamboni run around and clean things up for us.
Yeah, the jugs machine isn't working very good today with these guys throwing.
Yeah? Oh, 2 pitch. Hit sharply right to shortstop. Ibar with the play, and out number 1. Jose Altuve hitting .337, 2-point lead over closest pursuer Victor Martinez at .335. There are other names involved. You can see them: Adrian Beltre and Robinson Cano. That's quite an elite list of guys chasing for the title.
Relatively young guys, too. Obviously, Altuve is the youngest one on that list. Expects to be on that for years to come.
One out for Altuve. Weaver with that little slider spots it very well down and away. Third baseman Gordon Beckham drawn in. At first base, Pujols well off the line, and well, there's another well-spotted pitch.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. Sometimes you just go up against guys you just don't pick the ball up off of. Jared Weaver can be one of those guys. He's got a cross-firing action. Every pitch he throws seems to be moving. Not afraid to throw change-ups to right-handers.
Of course, in the case of Jared Weaver, you're not the Lone Ranger if you struggle against him. He's put up great numbers again this year. These Angels, a very hot team. They've won 9 in a row. And they showed the Astros last night what they're all about, despite losing 2 straight in Houston recently. Altuve spoils again. The count stays at 0-2. Weaver works it with his catcher, Hank Conger. Oh, 2 once again to Altuve, and again the fastball. Weaver's not going to play around. He'll come right at you.
Yeah, really no fear. Even though he's lost that much velocity, he's still aggressive in the zone.
You know, you kind of have to reflect back with Weaver, a guy who was mid-90s with this same type of style. Breaking ball stays up. Altuve gets just a piece to stay alive.
Some kind of wiffle ball coming in there at 71 miles an hour.
Pretty much the case.
No, Weaver's pitched well. He joined Lefty Grove as the only American League pitcher with 10 wins and 100 strikeouts in each of his first 9 big league seasons. That's pretty good stuff.
Weaver with 1 out here in the first inning. And the slider got him. Well painted stuff despite leaving it up a bit. Out number 2.
Take a look around Angel Stadium. Out in left field, it's going to be Colin Cowgill. Center field, Mike Trout. Cole Calhoun in right. Around the infield, Gordon Beckham's going to be out there at third base. Eric Ibar at short. Howie Kendrick at second. Albert Pujols will not DH. He'll be at first base. And Hank Conger will do the catching.
So 2 down, bases empty for Chris Carter. And Carter takes a fastball there at the knees for a strike. Chris Carter still among the leaders in home runs at 36. Slow curveball bends in. 0-2 the count. The Astros, despite last night's win, are winners in 8 of their last 11 games. So they've been playing great baseball, but you come up against the Angels right now and you're in for a tough night. Strike 3 called. Caught looking is Carter. A 1-2-3 first with a pair of punch-outs for Jared Weaver. After half an inning of play, a lot of young fans into this ballpark. And the thing you see with the fans here in Anaheim is they come in their red. They are 100% in support of their Angels. That lineup for the Angels tonight: Cole Calhoun in the top spot, he's the right fielder, followed by Mike Trout, the center fielder, and first baseman Albert Pujols. Middle 3, Howie Kendrick at second. The shortstop is Eric Ibar, and David Freese is the DH tonight. Bottom 3, Gordon Beckham gets the start at third, doing the catching Hank Conger, and in left field, Colin Cowgill.
Scott Feldman, big right-hander for the Houston Astros. Been pitching real well of late. Trying to improve on that record and keep that ERA heading south. He's got 160 in the third innings on the season. It really looks like he seems to be getting stronger. Those last two games, back at Minute Maid, he won a complete game shutout against those Rangers, and then at Oakland took a tough loss. Well, I guess it wasn't his loss. Took a tough no decision out there in Oakland when that game. When he came out, they were leading at 8 1/3, and Chad Qualls proceeded to give it up and lose that game, but still pitching quite well. Only gave up 2 earned runs, and that was 8 1/3.
That series that started this road trip in Oakland had the Astros in position to possibly win all 3 ball games, but they took 2 out of 3, 2 more in the 3-game set in Seattle, and now would have to be able to pick up the final 2 games in this series to continue that trend. They've won 4 consecutive series. Little half swing on the pitch left up. It's a ball and a strike. That had to be Calhoun guessing right there. A guy who is inclined to take at least 1 strike. Calhoun 2 for 6 lifetime against Feldman. And against the Astros, a .286 hitter. Has 3 doubles, 3 home runs. And now has a 2-1 count. Put up a very nice season. .287 the mark for Calhoun. He's played a nice right field. Has shown off a very good throwing arm. And a big part of what the Angels have been doing. A club that has scored at least 7 runs in their last 8 games now. In their 9-game winning streak, they have had no less than 5 runs in a game. So a tough assignment for Scott Feldman this evening. Brett Oberholzer last night, 3 perfect innings. And then it just came loose on Brett. Defense was no big assist last night for Oberholzer. Mike Scioscia, longtime manager, 2-time manager of the year in the American League. And he's got a great chance of picking that honor up again this year. Breaking ball grounded to the right side. Altuve ranges wide to his right to make the play. Out number 1 here in the first.
Of course, Altuve's back out there at second base, but there's a couple of differences out there on the defensive side for the Houston Astros. It's going to be Robbie Grossman out left. Alex Presley will be playing center field. Dexter Fowler getting the day off. Jake Marisnick back out there in right field. Gregorio Petit at third base for Domingo, and Margot back at shortstop. Altuve and Singleton again on that right side, and Castro doing the catching.
1 out for Mike Trout. Had a double and a triple last night, a pair of RBIs, leads the American League in ribbies. 105 on his big season. Takes a strike on the outside edge. Home plate umpire tonight, Lance Barrett. He's shown a sizable strike zone. Dana DeMuth at first. Tom Woodring is at second base, and Ron Culpa is down at third. Fastball from Feldman at 87. He can get it up to about 90 miles an hour. Not a hard thrower, but very much like Weaver. In fact, Weaver, I would be very surprised, Blummer, if he's been up to 90 miles an hour this year. Trying for the high strike on that outside edge, doesn't get it. The Angels start the day 11 games in front in the American League West. They have just run away and hid Oakland in a major scuffle. 11 games back. Seattle 11.5. There's a hanging slider right there from Mike Trout that he took. Counted 2-2.
He wants the nasty stuff down in the zone.
He does like the pitch down. Yeah, we've talked about Trout being among the leaders in strikeouts this year in the American League. He'll take his way into position to strike out a lot of times. But when it's all said and done, the set of numbers are gladly taken. 32 homers on the year. 105 on the RBIs that we mentioned. There's your standings in the West. 3 clubs with a chance to get into postseason play. The Astros have just blown by the Texas Rangers. Slider hammered right field. Going back Marisnick. He's watching at the wall. This one's out of here. Solo home run, Mike Trout, number 33 on the year. RBI number 106. The Angels jump on top. 1-0 here in the first.
He's good. He's really good.
We mentioned last night probably the face of baseball right now, and he has earned it.
Just a little cut fastball. Look, kind of a cement mixer that stayed over that outer third and maybe about belt high and just got belted.
So with a couple of strikes on him, Trout drives one out the other way. And that's one of the things that's so impressive about Mike Trout is that opposite field power, the way he waits on pitches. Albert Pujols at the plate, 0 for his last 10. Pujols has put together a pretty nice year. 26 home runs, 93 RBIs. We talked about it last night. A great shot once again to get to 100 ribbies for Albert. Inside out's a ground ball to the right side. Right there is Singleton for the play. 2 outs in the first. It'll bring up the cleanup man, Howie Kendrick.
So getting on the side of that fastball, just when I say cement mixer, it means it just sits there and spins. Doesn't really have much break to it. Usually backs up into a barrel just like it did for Mike Trout.
Howie Kendrick stands in. And another guy with the Angels putting up some very nice numbers this year. He's hitting 9 straight coming in. 7 homers on the year. Next RBI for Kendrick will be his 70th. And he scored 83 runs. Plays a good second base, a guy you just don't hear about a lot, but very steady for the Angels. .331 lifetime against Houston pitching. So he has torn the Astros up. A couple of homers and 18 ribbies. 2-0 the count. Feldman and company falling behind in the first inning.
A 33rd home run for Mike Trout ties him with Jose Abreu. 3rd place in the American League.
Ground ball back up the middle. That'll find center field. So once Feldman fell out of position, this ball had no chance to be caught. 2-out single, second hit in the inning. And it brings up Eric Ibar, the shortstop.
Howie Kendrick's done a good job of finding gaps in this Astros defense all year long. They're playing him pretty much straight up, not really shifting because they have no way to defend him. He goes the other way, he pulls the ball, and now you see him going right back up the middle. But Kendrick and Ibar, who's up now, I mean, that's a pretty good double play combo up the middle, both defensively and offensively this year.
Kendrick has been so steady, 292 hitter on the season prior to that at bat, and 292 lifetime as Ibar fouls it back. That double play combination for the Angels, kind of quietly going about their business, but they are really good. Kendrick held on by John Singleton at first. Ibar will feature the occasional long ball, 7 of them this year. Has a ball and a strike. .35th game lifetime against the Astros for Ibar, and a .287 mark. Another great day here in Southern California. Showing bunt, taking a ball. It's 2-1. Ibar almost just working the third baseman Petit. Seen Astros fans everywhere we've gone this year. Backdoor slider. It's 2-2. Just the first inning, but Mike Trout has made his presence felt already. Opposite field home run. 1-0 Angels. Pitch shot inside the bag at third, down the left field line. Extra bases. Kendrick digs for third. He'll stop there. A double with 2 outs by Eric Ibar. Runners at second and third now for the DH, David Freese.
Pretty impressive on a couple points for Eric Ibar right there. One, how to get on top of that pitch. Number 2, how to keep it fair. That's impressive stuff. And as a left-handed hitter, you're going to beat a defense all day long going the other way down that opposite field line.
It really is one of those pretty short, down to the baseball swings right there.
He earned himself some jazz hands from Mike Trout.
Jazz hands, huh?
Obviously, you don't have daughters.
Well, I do have daughters, 4 of them, but not living at home currently.
Well, I know all about jazz hands.
David Freese at the plate. Freese hitting .259. Scott Feldman trying to keep it right here, 1-0. David Freese in 47 games lifetime against Houston has torn it up. A .342 mark, 8 bombs, 35 ribbies. First base open. Gordon Beckham waits on deck, and a 2-1 count on Freese. These Angels, the best record in baseball. Are they the favorites going into the postseason this year?
I have to say so. If you've got the best record, that's saying something, and bring a little bit of an intimidation factor going into that postseason. And we both thought losing Garrett Richards would be a huge difference maker for these guys, but you've got Shoemaker stepping up, Santiago's finishing strong. But in a condensed, 5-game series, you've got to give the edge to the Angels, especially if their offense continues to power up like this. They're going to go in and knock some people around. Improved bullpen.
Yeah, in today's world where there's not a whole lot of offense around the major leagues, the Angels really stand out. They lead the American League in runs per game. 3-2 the count now on Freese. I guess the big question would be that starting rotation for the Angels. Is it formidable enough to take the Angels into a postseason series and stand up against some of the other staffs?
Why not?
Yeah, that's a fair answer.
Do you see a weakness? Because that's the thing. When you get into the playoffs, you can compress these series. They got travel days mixed in there. Really helps out what these pitching staffs can do.
Down on strikes, David Freese. We will consider that. We've played 1 inning, 1-0 Angels on top on the home run by Mike Trout. Right now at Jack in the Box, try Jack's Spicy Chicken Club Combo for just $4.99 plus tax. And by AT&T UVerse TV, find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT, mobilizing your world. Right here inside the ballpark, Angel Stadium. They've undergone a number of changes through the years. Beautiful ballpark, and still stands up among really the good ones around baseball. Second inning, Jason Castro leads it off. He'll be followed by Alex Presley and Jake Marisnick. Jared Weaver, a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 first inning, starts it with the curveball. Oh, and 1 on Castro. He struck out 3 times last night. And now down on the count quickly, 0-2. There's 90 miles an hour, so take that. Jared Weaver showing that he can still light it up a bit. Slider just under the knees. Well spotted by Jared Weaver.
That was a pretty good pitch. Sometimes I feel that the catcher can kind of take away a strike from a pitcher. Much like that one, Hank Conger didn't really stick that one in the zone. He kind of went with the pitch and continued down.
Fastball grounded right side, backhanded by Pujols. On to Weaver, and out number 1.
We got our primetime picks coming up here pretty soon. I'm going with AP. Alex Presley, you got Margot going today.
Margot getting a start at shortstop. Maybe one of those nights where he tries to show that that position should be his.
Alex has been swinging a decent bat of late.
I just got the scorekeeping on what's been going on with these prime picks. Man, I'm impressed with myself.
You should be.
I had no idea.
You had a big error last night. I mean,
really? That's how you want to play this?
You're only going to take the good? Not going to take the bad with it?
There's never any bad that goes with good.
Made a career of it.
You directed that at me. That was not about you.
So I made a career out of it.
No, it was really me, but nice effort on your part. Alex Presley stands in hitting 250. No, I'm feeling good about it, actually. I'm sensitive about you because I want to keep that great career intact. Presley will be followed by Marisnick. There's that high heat just thrown on by, and I think Jared Weaver's feeling it tonight. 90 miles an hour once again.
He's actually gaining some velocity here late in the season. Some of those numbers picking up.
What we saw earlier in the year, I would say, was a little shy of what we're seeing tonight, and I think you're right. You know, you were mentioning that why not for the Angels feel good about their pitching staff going into the postseason. I think there would be some people would say C.J. Wilson might be a concern for the Angels, and yet he picked up a win last night. Not the most stellar of starts, but that offense can really work for a guy. Marisnick at the plate. Jake did have a key error in last night's game. It's one of those plays that really made you wonder what's going on. That pitch looked like a good one, called a ball. But despite the error, 2 for 4 last night for Jake with a ribby. Gets a piece of the fastball.
So you wouldn't have C.J. Wilson in your playoff rotation?
No, I didn't say that. I just said there might be some concerns voiced by some of the people. No, he would be in the rotation, but I think that's where the concern might be if you had a 3-man rotation.
Well, we've seen Mike Scioscia have a short leash with him. I'm sure if he ends up being in that playoff rotation, that's going to be the guy that has that short leash. He throws a ton of pitches.
And last night, as he picked up the W, started early, trailing 3-0. Just didn't look like he was on his game. And yet, from some of the people here in Anaheim, that's kind of what you hear.
Well, I loved reading all the reports. It said solid 5 innings.
Yeah, that's intriguing. Little looper off the fist. Right there is Kendrick to make the play. And another 1-2-3 inning for Jared Weaver. He's retired 6 in a row.
And you could say the same for Scott Feldman late in the season, talking with pitching coach Brent Strom about this guy, saying he's more athletic on the mound these days, a shortened arm action, but that curveball was so good earlier in the year, went through a slump. He wasn't getting the swings and misses he was earlier in the year, so him and Stromy worked on it, making it look more like a fastball out of the hand. That's something Stromy's done with a lot of guys on this staff so far, but that curveball much more effective here lately, guys.
Yeah, he's had a very good curveball, oft used, but very effective pitch in the repertoire. And you can
been pretty darn effective in those last 4 games. Slugging percentage matches the batting average against it right now at 111.
All singles in the last couple of starts against Scott Feldman. Gordon Beckham at the plate, hitting 2 1/4 on the year. 7-hitter for the Angels. He'll be followed by Hank Conger and Colin Cowgill. Was that Jose Vera slider?
No, not even close. Castro caught it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That pitch that starts so far outside.
I asked Castro about that on the bus. He was kind of funny about it. He was like, it kind of locked me up. And I go, what? I go, that thing was 8 feet outside. He goes, yeah, I didn't know whether or not to dive for it or not.
1-2 the count. And a strikeout for Scott Feldman. Second on the night, first out here in the second inning. It'll bring up the switch hitting Hank Conger.
It's a good breaking ball. As soon as we show you the numbers on it, that Feldman goes to it and gets some good downward break and gets a punch out. Appreciate you, Scott.
Conger hitting just .222. Looked a year or so ago like this guy might be the everyday catcher of the future for the Angels. Hasn't quite worked out. Get some big swings from this, the left side of the plate. Playing in his 21st game against Houston. Does have a home run. And has hit .275. Curveball stays away. 92-55 the record for the Angels. They're a season best 37 games over 500. And that 92-55 matching an Angels record through 147 games goes back to 2002 with that mark. 1-2 now on Conger. Is this Angels club a better club than we saw early in the season?
Absolutely. I don't know if it's, well, obviously it's better, but I think they're living up to the expectations that everybody's put on them and playing a lot more consistent. Still without Josh Hamilton in that lineup, too.
Hamilton ailing with a sore shoulder. But it's Garrett Richards that, to me, is the big loss as they head toward the postseason. But then again, 11-game lead in the American League West. Not much to complain about. By the way,
that's what's got to give Angel fans high hopes, because they lose an ace like that. Garrett Richards, Jared Weaver steps up, Shoemaker steps up. I mean, that's pretty impressive stuff. So, I mean, the clubhouse is staying together, too. You expect these guys to fall apart and say, oh, no, we lost one of our best pitchers. What are we going to do now? They've just stepped up, and offense has caught fire and carried them most of the way now.
And I would have expected larger crowds here in this series. Not bad crowds, but not great crowds. And the Angels have a reputation of drawing packed houses, close to packed houses. With the Astros in town this weekend with football going on, a little less than that sellout type crowd.
Still pretty good considering how warm it is.
Three and two the count. Conger stays alive. Conger last played a couple of days ago, went 1 for 3 with a double. That at Texas against the Rangers, part of that 8-2 road trip the Angels just came home from. And again, the 2 losses against Houston at Minute Maid Park. Pitch is drilled into left center field, solid base hit. Conger will hold with a single, comes with 1 out and brings up the 9-hitter Colin Cowgill.
That was a beautiful swing from Conger. A sinker running away, stay on it, barrel it up, and hit a line drive where the shortstop used to be. Conger feeling pretty good about himself.
I think he's a pretty dangerous looking left-hand hitter.
He's got some bump. He does take some big swings. It's nice to see him with those 2 strikes stay on that ball right there.
Colin Cowgill stands in. He's the left fielder. He's hitting 4 straight. And takes a strike. Cowgill steps out of the box. Takes a peek on down to third base. Gary DiSarcina, that third base coach. Cowgill with 5 homers on the year. Hasn't put up big numbers, 21 ribbies, but again, Josh Hamilton is that left fielder they look to have out there. And Tom Lawless doing a very nice job, setting a nice attitude on the ball club since joining. It has been very loose. For those who want the drill sergeant, you'd be disappointed. Runner goes, the pitch, a strikeout, the throw down, and they've got the runner hung up. And now Altuve charges. Singleton on the backside, and he'll apply the tag. So 2 for 3 on the caught stealing. And that is not a strikeout of Cowgill, as I stated. But the caught stealing, the second out of the inning, a 1-2 count on Cowgill.
Colin Cowgill did everything he could on this hit and run. Conger's not going to be going on his own. That's a play that's put on. With the ball being thrown in the other box, that's all Colin Cowgill could do.
So on that backside, when you've got a rundown play, you want to be moving forward as you receive the throw. And you want to come as hard as you can from the other side. Limit the number of throws. Nice job by Jason Castro with a good throw. He has made some good throws without a whole lot of success recently. One out, first inning home run by Mike Trout, the difference in the ball game. And now 2-2 on Cowgill. Make that 3-2. Cowgill 1 for 4 in last night's game, scored a run. He's hit in the 4 straight that we mentioned, 5 of his last 6. And now draws the walk on the pitch up. So we've seen Jared Weaver get the high strike tonight, not so much for Scott Feldman yet. Back to the top with Cole Calhoun. And the pitching coach Brent Strom is going to come out to the mound. What's the message right about now from Stromy, do you suppose?
I'm not sure if you've seen anything mechanically, but I know that just from what we've seen here in the first inning and a half is he's not the sharp Scott Feldman we saw back in Minute Maid Park and in Oakland. And I'm not sure. That's why I wonder if it's something mechanical that brings Stromy out there and says, hey, I see something, maybe tweak this or get back to a spot where you were really successful.
Brent Strom, one of the guys that I think should go home and be very proud about his work this year. The success he's been able to bring to some of the pitching.
It's been an absolute roller coaster ride for Brent Strom, but he's handled it extremely well.
Calhoun at the plate, grounded out to second, his first at bat, pitch in the dirt, and starting was Cowgill, but alertly able to get back as Castro blocked that pitch. These Angels don't do a lot of things wrong right about now. By the way, to mention around the Major League, staying in the American League to start with, the Tigers have retaken the lead in the American League Central, a half game up on Kansas City. Cleveland, who comes into Houston for 4 games, they're 4.5 back. A ball and a strike on Calhoun. Baltimore has that East all locked up. They're 11.5 in front of Toronto now, in second place in front of the Yankees. It's really all about the wild card now in the American League. Well, other than Detroit and KC in the Central.
Log jam.
Runner goes from first. The pitch fouled left side. So that would not be a hit and run with 2 outs. Pigpen gets back to first. It's the dirtiest field you played on.
Probably one down the street here. There's not a dirty big league field I've ever played on. No, you know what? Auburn in the New York Penn League before they remade that field. Good grief.
Ground ball back up the middle. Right there is Marwin. He'll dash to the bag right ahead of the runner, and that'll do it on the force play. Angels get a hit and a walk and leave a man. It's 1-0 Halos.
Is presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history. Ichiro Suzuki beats out an infield single and becomes the first player in ML history to have 200 hits in 9 consecutive seasons, passing Wee Willie Keeler's mark of 8 straight seasons from 1894 to 1901. Pretty impressive stuff.
I find myself watching some of the hits of Ichiro and just kind of marveling how he could just fillet some pitches around the infield and the other way.
I always felt he kind of got out there and it looked like he lost his front hip and everything's going crazy, but his hands are back and he's kind of looking around the field and goes, oh yeah, I'm going to try and hit this one up the middle. Whack.
Now, I felt like his midsection would just kind of glide, as you're saying, moving forward, and he would keep the hands back in the process and kind of always have it there. Jose Cruz used to do a version of that where he could take a huge stride. Didn't matter how far he would take the stride, he could keep the hands back so well. Marwin Gonzalez leads off for Houston. 7-hitter. He'll be followed by Singleton and Petit. But I want to tell you, Jose Cruz could take that long stride, be way out in front, keep the hands back, and hit a bullet down the left field line.
He was some kind of special.
0-2 the count on Marwin. 3 strikeouts already for the right-hander Jared Weaver, and a hot shot, diving stop at third, and no play on the infield. Beckham able to stop the baseball shot sharply, and now a leadoff single for Marwin Gonzalez.
Look at you.
Wow.
A hot hand right now.
It's golden. It's magic.
A little Ichiro-ish right there with the slap, trying to get through that 5.5 hole that Tony Gwynn took shots at all the time. Gordon Beckham almost robbed him on that.
So Marwin aboard. John Singleton at the plate. John in the 8th spot today. .178 that batting average. 13 homers. That feels good. But the 178, an area that clearly has to be worked on.
Yeah, you need to work on it. That's true. But you look at the number of at bats he's had, and he's up at 287 as far as at bats. You think it would have corrected itself by now, possibly, because I know that that 100 at bat to 150 at bat range is where you kind of have a feel of where you're going with things. But to be struggling at under 180 after 287 at bats is impressive.
Big swing and a miss for John. Yeah, precisely why I feel like that's an area of concern. I think that clearly John's got to, I don't know, you sit home and you think about stances and things that you do when you see different pitches. Somehow it's got to click at some point for John.
Tell you what, I'm going through the bat rack. I'm using pitcher's bats. I'm using anybody's stick up there other than mine. I mean, you got to take it that far. I mean, that's once you start getting down around under that 200 mark, you start making some crazy adjustments trying to look for stuff.
That's what Billy Hatcher did once upon a time when he grabbed a bat from one of the pitchers and found that bat was loaded.
That backfired.
That came apart on him. Stuff went flying all over the place. Big mistake.
What kind of generation did you play in?
Yeah, it was.
I'm just kidding.
You're not cheating. You're not trying.
A little extra effort.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. We're talking about all the hits Jose Altuve is getting. One of the guys he passed to get into that second spot was Miguel Tejada, and he would literally go to the dugout, home or road, with at least 6 bats in his hands, if not more. But it was a minimum of 6 as he went down the tunnel into the dugout, and half the time, 3 or 4 of them were not his.
So you just start grabbing bats.
Oh, you just open up the bat locker and start taking stuff.
Marwin goes, a swing and a miss, the throw high, and in with a stolen base, Marwin Gonzalez.
And that's great news for me on Marwin. Tells me that hamstring's feeling a little bit better.
That is a good sign. Watching him at second base recently looked like he might have still been bothered a bit, but showed no signs of problems here.
Got a pretty good jump, too. Astros base runners taking advantage of Angels catchers. A couple of bags last night against Iannetta.
That's just the second on the year and 6 tries for Marwin. So it's not like he's been a successful base thief, and yet the Astros 108th on the year, second best in the league.
And we know Marwin's not one of those burner guys that gets on base and you're waiting for him to steal. He can be smart about those things. You don't have to be the fleetest of foot to steal bags. You pick the right spot against the right pitcher on the right pitch, you give yourself a good chance.
So Marwin in scoring position, 3-2 on Singleton. 1-0 Angels here in the third. Down on strikes. So already 4 strikeouts now for Weaver. That's the first out here in the inning. And it brings up the 9-hitter, Gregorio Petit.
There's a good opportunity on a 3-2 count. Not a bad pitch, just way out in front of that pitch. Would have been a nice spot to just see John just nub one towards that right side of the field, move that base runner up 90 feet, get him to third base for Greg.
So with 2 strikes like that, is that an area where you would expect to see, if you were working with a John Singleton, for example, is there a difference in philosophy you might go to with a couple of strikes? Man in scoring position?
Well, it was 3-2 right there, so you got to anticipate you're going to get a strike. So number one, look in the strike zone, look straight, try and adjust to the off-speed stuff if you do get it in a 3-2 count. But you could tell on that swing how far in front of the ball he is. And I know Weaver is a good pitcher. He's going to have good movement. He's got great deception. We know that. But somehow John Singleton needs to figure out how to get that ball closer to him. He's attacking the ball before it has a chance to get into that hitting zone.
Pitch fouled back by Petit. Gregorio's done a nice job at an Astros uni, hitting .270. He's shown that he can play short, second, third. Maybe a little outfield on top of that. He's had 5 doubles along the way, including a home run. So he can surprise you occasionally. 2 balls and a strike. Mike Trout in center field, shaded a step or 2 toward right. Petit, 29 years of age now. One of the many Venezuelan players having success. Slow curveball is in. It's 2-2. Fairly sizable outside corner.
And Gregorio's got to feel like he's seen that thing all day long. It took forever to get there, but kind of jumps out of Weaver's hands, and by the time it gets to the plate, it's breaking down somewhere near the strike zone.
Little fister popped in the air, shallow in left field. Coming on is Cowgill. He'll make the catch. Holding at second base, Marwin Gonzalez. 2 down now for Robbie Grossman. Sometimes on a guy that just isn't throwing that hard, you'll tie yourself up as a hitter. And it looked like maybe that was the case for Petit.
Well, sometimes when you're facing these guys that don't throw very hard, instead of being quick, trying to have a quick swing on a guy that throws hard, you get these guys that throw 85 to 88 miles an hour, you might have a tendency to try and load up a little too big, and all of a sudden with that huge load, that swing gets a little bit longer and you get blown up on 87. It's not a good feeling.
Grossman drills one to right field. Diving effort, unable to come up with it. Calhoun. The Astros will even the game at a run apiece. And it's an RBI single for Robbie Grossman. And coming oh so close to making a great play, Calhoun in right.
That would have been a big play with 2 outs. That was an absolute scud shot out there to right field by Robbie Grossman. And speaking of quick, he turned this heater around in a hurry.
Catchable ball for Calhoun.
Sure was. wonder, sometimes you hit that ball so well it might knuckle a little bit. There might have been some late movement on that. When Calhoun started into his dive, it might have moved at that last second to hit off the end of the glove.
Calhoun's been a big part of the Angels' success this year. Unable to make that play. RBI single has us tied at 1. Altuve, ground ball up the middle, 203 on the year. Just reaching out. And it's kind of what Jose can do. He can hang out the ropes, and he can drop some soft ones in there. Your major league leader in hits by a wide margin.
That was a big league hit right there. It's all about location, right? Just throw the barrel at it. That's impressive.
What do you do defensively, though? He hits it everywhere.
When he throws his bat at it, why can't I just throw my glove at it?
You think it was ever that easy?
No.
Yeah, I think Jose Altuve has had some moments of frustration in recent weeks. And yet, the guy just goes on and on. He's 1 for 2 tonight. See what he looks like from the side.
Look at that, weight perfectly back, hands back, and just stayed through that ball beautifully.
You see how the front hip stayed in place so that the hands would stay back, enabling him to take a swing on a pitch where he really wasn't on it.
I think Altuve takes that video into John Maley and says, all your theories are junk.
Yeah, because theories would have nothing to do with that swing.
Stay back, whatever.
Watch where this hip is as he lands.
Watch where the hip is, but watch where the booty's going. That booty is over there by Mike Scioscia when he makes contact with that ball.
It almost has to when you keep that front hip in place like that. It's got to go somewhere. Yeah, he's phenomenal. He does what it takes. Carter at the plate has a pitch to hit and fouls it back. 1 and 2 now on Chris. Carter at 237. We'll check on the numbers here in a moment on Altuve and Victor Martinez and others. Weaver with the 1-2, and it sails up and in. Carter, a strikeout victim, looking in the first inning. Less than 13 at-bats throughout the year, producing home runs for Carter, and he's down on strikes. Off speed gets him. Second strikeout for Chris. The Astros leave a pair, but put a run on the board to tie it.
Angels. In time for our AT&T Uverse Rewind. We're looking at Mike Trout. Pitching coach Brent Strom told me that this guy has weaknesses. Well, this isn't it. Very good low ball hitter, and Jorge De Leon put one low in the zone there, and he turned it into a RBI triple last night. Here's today in his first at bat, a home run. This pitch, not low like the one you saw before, but Trout can do all kinds of things at the plate. Now, what the Astros are trying to do is to beat him up. They want him to think up. That way they can beat him back down low once they have him looking up. Guys, it's just a tough matchup when you're facing Mike Trout, though, don't you think?
He's simply one of the game's very best in so many areas, and he's just a kid.
But those numbers are ridiculous. 370 and 443 down in the zone. The guy's killing it down. He's got such a short, compact stroke when he gets to that spot and just annihilates it. But that home run that Julie was talking about that he hit in his first at bat was kind of a cutter slash slider up out over the plate, maybe about belt high. When you take a little bit of a couple miles an hour off the pitch and it's up, Mike Trout has a chance to catch up to it. But I think that he may be making the adjustment too, making a concerted effort to keep his hands above the ball and drive down some of those pitches that might be belt high.
The last home run prior to that first inning job by Trout, September 7th at Minnesota. And there's the home run pitch.
See how Feldman gets on the side of that. You can see just a couple miles an hour taken off of it. Still that kind of downward swing from Mike Trout.
1-1 the count on Trout, leading off here in the third. Pitch is driven to center field. Going back, Presley. He's at the wall, running out of room. Number 34, Mike Trout. You may be looking at the American League MVP as he rounds third.
And Julia talked about it too. Try and throw those fastballs up, elevate Mike Trout's eyes, and then go back down in the zone. But you better bury that pitch down in the zone. Scott Feldman's breaking ball just kind of flipped in there. You're going to watch on the replay. It ends up maybe about knee high by the time he makes contact with it, and that is right in the happy spot of where Mike Trout likes to drive the baseball.
So Trout has driven in each run for the Angels tonight. A couple of bombs. And is he impressive? Nobody out for Albert Pujols.
Pure raw talent and power. Three career multi-home run games for Mike Trout, second one this year.
Of course, we remember July 4th, the walk-off game winner for Trout against Houston.
That was a good one.
Pujols with a big swing, has a 1-2 count.
See that breaking ball. Well, watch where Castro, you want this thing down in this dirt, but right here, right at that knee level, and that's at that bottom of that zone where Mike Trout, we know real well now, annihilates baseballs.
So if that's what he does to a low curveball, does that take the curveball out of the repertoire on him?
I think you got to question the location. I don't think it does, but I think you might want to get that on the outer third of the plate, down a little bit more, try and have it break in front of home plate. Because if you're throwing that pitch right there to Mike Trout, you're going to throw a breaking ball down in the zone. It looks like a slow pitch, softball pitch to him.
Angels with runs in the first and third innings. The Astros with their run in the third. Back to July 4th and what Mike Trout did in the walk-off fashion.
Talk about going down to get it. Castro's going down there to block that ball in the dirt, and it ends up over the fence.
That's why I asked the question about the curveball. If you try to throw a breaking ball and put it down where you normally would want to put that pitch.
Well, when you were catching and you knew guys would crush that pitch, how do you communicate, or did you talk about it before the game, or did you say, when I'm going to throw this guy a curveball, do I want to bury this out in front of the plate, or am I trying to throw this in a get-me-over fashion to throw for a strike?
Well, it's conceivable on that game winner that pitch was buried in the dirt. So the question for me is, do I just take it out of the repertoire and go with the other stuff? Hot shot on a hop off the glove of Altuve. That's into left field. Albert Pujols has a base hit. Back-to-back knocks here in the third inning. It brings up the cleanup man, Howie Kendrick.
I don't think as a pitcher you want to eliminate any pitches from your repertoire going in, no matter who it is. It's just how do you set that pitch up and how do you locate it better. Did you ever have pitches where you just went into a game against a guy and said, I refuse to throw this pitch?
Well, yes, I was told by managers, don't you dare throw this pitch. Frank Robinson, for example.
I know that against me, there was a pitch and a location they did not want to throw it.
But my question on Trout comes back to that same thing. If you say bury a breaking ball, well, we just saw a buried breaking ball get driven out for a game-winning home run. So is that a valid pitch, or do you just stay hard up on the guy and hope you find a way to get him out?
You'd have to ask a pitcher, because if I'm playing third base right now, I'm like, stop throwing it down there. You're either going to give up a bomb or you're going to get me killed at third base.
See,
and look at the catcher's glove. He's turned it over already, going down to try and block it.
So we've got a buried pitch. It winds up being a game winner. So
he's making contact with it before it's buried.
Well, okay, then you're saying bounce it in front of the plate.
Yes.
Okay, well,
I'm throwing. Yeah. I make your breaking ball break in front of the hitting zone.
Yeah. I think he's a better hitter than that, in my opinion. As a catcher, I wouldn't anticipate that bouncing one in front of the plate is a viable way of getting Mike Trout. But just my opinion. And
you don't think he would chase it?
No, not a pitch that's going to bounce in front of home plate. No, I don't.
With all the punch outs he's had?
Not on a pitch that's going to bounce in front of home plate, because I view Mike Trout as better than that. But that's just my opinion.
Huh. And
again, I would probably feel like I want to see what he does with the hard stuff up.
You don't think in trying to defend up, if a guy's setting him up, trying to beat him up, that if somebody threw a really good sharp breaking ball out on the outer third in front of home plate, he wouldn't attempt to chase it?
Anything's possible. I'm always open to anything being possible. But for me, if I say this guy can take a buried breaking ball in the dirt and drive it out of the ballpark, I probably am going to go for a while without throwing that pitch.
Huh. It's got to be a tough matchup for Scott Feldman then.
Well, and that
he doesn't have the heat to blow anybody's doors off in that upper part of the zone. And if he throws a strike, there's a good chance we saw a cutter fastball get driven out the other way from Mike Trout up in the zone.
Well,
that's a good breaking ball right there, by the way.
It's the same one that Mike Trout just hit out of the ballpark, though. Yeah, it is.
Okay. I'm not believing that. That one looked a little more over the outside corner and down for me.
Maybe higher than the one that Trout hit out for the game winner. So again, it comes down to what you see, and I spent a little time back there trying to make that work out. And if a guy, Bobby Bonds was a guy that Frank Robinson told us, if he sees a fastball, I'm going to basically destroy the rest of your life. And so we had to throw him all breaking balls. And finally it came to a point where I thought, I can't do this anymore. I've got to give my pitcher something to throw. And after about 30 pitches on an afternoon, he threw a fastball and it was driven out of the yard. Presley back to make the play. Nice job by Alex Presley in center field. Second out as Ibar flies out. It'll bring up David Freese. Look at the glove of Castro, and I would say that's basically the same thing. Yeah, you might be talking
to the ground here.
You might be talking about an inch or two, but it's basically the same pitch, and no pitcher has command of one of those over the other. It's the same pitch for a pitcher, and so that's the only question I have in that regard. Two outs. Freese a strikeout victim in the first inning. 3 strikeouts for Scott Feldman, trailing 2-1 here in the third inning. When I meet that pitcher who can command within an inch or two any given breaking ball or anything that he's got, then you're meeting a really good pitcher.
Yeah.
Ground ball to third. On his knee is Petit to make the play. Force out at second. That'll do it for the Angels in the third. They add a run on the second home run of the night by Mike Trout.
Fourth. It's time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. That is brought to you by AT&T. Guys.
Thank you, Julia. 2-1 Angels here. Beautiful ballpark. Angel Stadium of Anaheim. Go to the fourth inning. Jason Castro leads it off. He's the cleanup man, followed by Alex Presley and Jake Marisnick. Castro grounded out to first base in the second inning. Second time he has led off an inning tonight. Jared Weaver changing speeds and locations all night long. Yeah, they've got a message up on the board that I find a bit intriguing. Fly ball to right field. Calhoun's there to make the play, out number 1 in the fourth inning. So Castro 0 for 2 on his night.
You're not going to enlighten everybody? Just going to leave them hanging like that?
They basically they had a note that we saw, I think, back on the recent homestand of Castro matching me for a couple of seasons with double-digit home runs. Castro's going to blow by that. So I will already allot him the victory in that regard. But for the moment, I hang on to his coattail. Alex Presley at the plate.
He's hanging on yours until he passes you.
Well,
you were the first one to do it.
You know, I thought coming into this year that Jason was going to have a huge year offensively. Hasn't quite happened, but I think it's coming for Jason Castro. Big, strong guy. Yes.
Well, he's earned it, just playing in the Astros organization his whole career.
Fly ball, shallow in center field. Coming on hard, Mike Trout. He'll get there to make the play. You know, there's a situation, Mike Trout, easy play, but he got to the ball well, and I'll let you do your thing.
Please let me do. Every Friday night home game is followed by spectacular fireworks. They're presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. The last Friday fireworks of 2014 will be September 19th after the Astros play the Seattle Mariners. Get tickets at 1-877-9-ASTROS or go to astros.com.
And quickly back on that play. 2 years ago, Mike Trout was lauded defensively in the D-WAR category. Last year, because a lot of people thought maybe he was given too many points the previous year, everybody kind of jumped him on D-WAR, and he got a minus figure. This year, I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but You see any reason to believe that Mike Trout is not able to get to balls that other outfielders get to?
I'm not sure I'm buying all that.
Not at all for me. You know, and everybody's entitled to their opinions. My question is, who has the opinion that stands up on these D-WAR stats? And I'll
let you Google that one.
Yeah, I will probably place my wager that it's not somebody who ever played the game. Now, you can read that statement however you want, but I think that a former player.
I think you were abundantly clear on how you felt about it.
Well, maybe so. But I think a former player has a more valid viewpoint on watching a defensive player go after a ball than maybe somebody who hasn't been around the game. Pitch fouled back by Marisnick. 0-2 the count, 2 outs here in the 4th. But again, it's all opinion, and that's just my opinion. But I think Mike Trout being behind Josh Donaldson this year, who has 22 errors now as the third baseman for the Oakland A's, to me it's kind of laughable. Strike 3 called. Marisnick caught looking. A 1-2-3 4th inning. Turned in quickly by Jared Weaver. It's 2-1 Angels.
Angels. Come celebrate Fiestas Patrias Street Fest, presented by United Airlines on Saturday, September 20th, outside Minute Maid Park for live music, food, and fun for all ages. The Street Fest is open to all fans and will be on Crawford Street beginning at 3 p.m. before the Astros and Mariners play at 6:10. Ash.
Thanks, Julia. What's that called again, Julia?
Fiestas Patrias Street Fest.
Oh, that's
just
nice.
Rolls off your tongue. It's natural.
Oh, don't make fun of me.
Thanks for repeating that. That's lovely. 2-1 Angels. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Bottom 3 in the order for the Angels. Gordon Beckham leads it off, followed by Hank Conger and Colin Cowgill. First pitch hit in the air to right field. How about that? Marisnick with the catch and 1 out. Battle of veteran right-handers here this evening. And Jared Weaver getting the best of it so far because of Mike Trout and his 2 home runs, numbers 33 and 34. The Astros picked up their run in the 3rd inning. RBI single by Robbie Grossman. One of those 2-out RBI hits for Robbie. Altuve has picked up a base hit. He's 1 for 2 on the night. And that batting race just becomes more and more intriguing. And Conger had a base hit in the 2nd inning, then was caught stealing. Part of a failed hit and run for the Angels. Conger a little over 200 at bats on the year, so he gets plenty of playing time. Curveball yanked foul way down the right side. 1-2 the count. So as best as I can tell, the current numbers on the batting race have Jose Altuve with his 1-for-2 night hitting .338. 4 points back now. Victor Martinez of the Tigers at .334. Adrian Beltres at .324. And then Robinson Cano, .322. Jose Abreu, .321. Wow. 34 homers, 100 RBIs. Amazing season for the rookie with the White Sox.
He might pull an Ichiro, get an MVP and a Rookie of the Year.
Very well could. And I kind of went out on my little limb a few weeks ago saying that I thought Jose Abreu was the MVP in the American League.
That might be a very strong limb.
And I think at the moment I would stay with that. I'm going to be intrigued, and you and I have talked about it, Plummer. About what Jose Altuve is able to garner in terms of attention on the MVP voting.
Even if they're just courtesy votes, you got to throw a couple votes Altuve's way.
I don't think he'll get any #1 places.
No.
But how much does he get top 10 vote-wise? And does he get treated accurately based on the season he's putting together?
Well, if you're looking into what the ball club's done, the Astros are one of the most improved teams in all of baseball. And the numbers he's put up, if you take him out of that lineup, the Astros don't do what they've been doing all year long.
Pitch is drilled, leaping grab by Singleton. Second out in the inning. Nice play defensively by Big John.
Nice leaping grab. It's always good to take some hits away when you're not getting them.
I'll flash some leather around. 2 outs. Just the 4th inning. Kind of curious about your assessment of these numbers. And WAR has become a big one as we watch John Singleton once again get up, get that rebound, and control it coming back down.
It's nice. Elevate.
One of the fine stat keepers around Major League Baseball. In the WAR category, the overall has Jose Altuve with a 5.0. Second baseman, leading the league in hitting, leading in hits, leading in stolen bases, playing generally a solid second base. Robinson Cano is 4th in batting, but he has a 6.1. That's a whole point 0.1 above Altuve, 5 to 6.1. And I'm kind of curious.
You want my theory?
Yeah, sure.
Production. He's got more RBIs, more home runs.
Robinson Cano has 13 home runs to 7 of Altuve.
How about the RBI differential?
76 to 51. Runs scored, Altuve leads. Not by a wide margin, just 5. Yeah, I'm not sure that I would probably say Cano would be a little higher overall, but I'm not sure that margin, and that's a good size margin in terms
defensively. Who are you taking out, Altuve or Cano?
I would take Cano.
Yep, and I think that might have a lot of play in it too, because I think Cano's reputation and what he's done in his history at second base has been pretty impressive as far as range and ability to make some of those plays around him.
Good slider for the strikeout, and a 1-2-3 4th inning turned in by Scott Feldman. We played 4. It's 2-1, Angels on top.
Take advantage of one of the best bargains in Minute Maid Park with the Coca-Cola Value Days package, available with specially marked Coke products. The package includes a ticket, hot dog, popcorn, and bottle of Coke for just $16. Visit Astros.com for more information. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Julia. 2-1 Angels on top. We played 4 here in the 5th inning. 7-8-9 for Houston. Marwin Gonzalez leads it off, followed by John Singleton and Gregorio Petit. Marwin had a base hit, a stolen base, and scored a run in the 3rd. That the only Houston run of the night. Weaver set to go. The breaking ball's in for a strike. Jeff Blum has his daughters, his family, wife in the booth, and just enjoying some family time. That's the way it should be at the ballpark.
Good night for it. He had a good day.
Nachos are in abundance, I see.
Oh, you ain't lying, yeah. Takes one helmet to feed an entire family.
Yeah, one of those $72 helmets worth of nachos.
Exactly.
Fastball at the knees. Caught looking Marwin Gonzalez. And Jared Weaver has maybe been the beneficiary of some calls here this evening. Yeah, there are the girls.
Hey, there you go.
Where's Mama? I mean, she always gets shortchanged.
She's hiding out back.
Quigg's got to get out of the way.
No, Quiggs is enjoying some nachos. That a boy, get in there.
There she is. Yeah.
Yep, she's hiding in the corner back there.
She's really the one that we should have on there.
She is. Come on, babe. Get on headset.
One out here in the 5th inning. John Singleton, strikeout victim in the 3rd. 7 strikeouts now for Weaver. So at the end of game time, you guys drive on down the 5.
Yep,
and,
sure do. Head south.
About 20-25 minutes worth of drive.
Yeah, we go down and get right on that border of San Diego, North County, and right at the southern tip of Orange County, down in San Clemente.
Down in the former home of Richard Nixon.
His White House West is still down there off Cotton's Beach. It's a good, nice little surf break down there in San Clemente.
2-0, and the slow curveball bends in for a strike.
Gosh, John Singleton's got to be wondering, come on, throw me a bone here. And you know what? Even the average is low. They still respect the power of John Singleton. That's why he's seeing 2-0 breaking balls too.
And Weaver's one of those guys that, because he's lost a lot of the fastball, he's had to become more of a pitcher. And I think he feels like he can throw any one of the pitches for a strike.
I couldn't agree more with that. He's done a great job of it. It's a game of adjustments. He's constantly making them, and it's still just a one-run game. He doesn't want one swing of the bat to tie this thing up.
Second time tonight, John Singleton's down on strikes. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 8 on the night for Weaver. And with 2 down, it brings up Petit.
We saw him out ahead of the fastball last time he struck out. Now, this at bat, Weaver really went to the off-speed pitches, back-to-back breaking balls, and then the changeup right here. Singleton unable to stay back and just try and fend that off.
Weaver leaves an amazing landing spot on the mound. It's one that you won't see from just about any other right-hander. First pitch, a fastball in for a strike on Petit. But it's well on the third base side of the hill.
And then still steps towards that third base dugout. So it's amazing what angle he's pitching from.
Players will call it a crossfire, but he lands well on that third base side. He's in front on the count 0-2. And so many people, if a young kid signs today and has that delivery, somebody's going to get on him very quickly and say, hey, let's straighten this back out now. Let's get your landing foot to land toward home plate. And this is not the way you want to do it. Watch where this lands. Fly ball center field. Trout going back. Has a beat on it. A 1-2-3 inning, and quickly done once again by Jared Weaver. Half the game in the books. 2-1 Angels. oil change is free, even on synthetic.
Love synthetics. I don't even know if my car runs on synthetic oil.
What?
I'm not paying that close attention.
No?
Do you?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah. Always synthetic for me, but
Renaissance man.
Not exactly that. I don't know if I'd go that far. I see you got your daughters on mic. They're ready to call some plays here in the inning.
We got one. She might be a little nervous.
We played 4.5, 2-1 Angels lead it. They've doubled the Astros in hits 6-3, but the key element being a couple of home runs by Mike Trout tonight. Trout waits on deck here in the 5th. It's the leadoff man, Cole Calhoun, at the plate, 0 for 2 on his night. This guy has really produced 16 homers on the year, has driven in 56. 2-0 the count for Feldman.
It's impressive. We're always talking about the approach that these guys have, but Cole Calhoun, I mean, Mike Trout, these guys they're taking a strike. It's amazing. They just stick to their guns, and they've been successful with it, too.
Cole Calhoun probably, along with Trout, as much as anybody in this lineup. Strike on the inside edge. Well, that's pretty well spotted for Feldman on a 2-0.
Good pitch.
And by the way, back on that conversation about the WAR ratings. At the start of play today, Mike Trout is back even with Josh Donaldson at a 7.1. But that number says that Josh Donaldson has been really good defensively as the pitch is popped up on the infield near second. Marwin makes the play and out number 1. And I'm not sure I agree with that rating.
Sorry to interrupt, Dash, but here's our Mako big hits of the game. Big Mike Trout living up to that reputation. Got himself a hanging cutter on that outside corner of the plate. Drives it out the other way here at Angel Stadium. And then he gets that breaking ball down in that happy zone. He likes those pitches down. Got himself that breaking ball. Saw it nicely. Barreled it up and drove it deep into the hedges in center field.
2 for 2 on the night. 8 total bases. That's pretty easy to figure out. And there's Mike Trout taking a strike. Pitch down and away, and that's a pitch he can take and drive out to right field. Quickly 0-2 now on Trout. Some kind of player. He can do it all. Really cut back on the stolen bases this year. He had stolen just 14 in 16 attempts 2 years ago. As a Rookie of the Year and the winner of the Rookie of the Year award, he stole 49, caught just 5 times. Last year, 33 bags. But it would appear that even at a young age, that running game has been pushed back on the agenda. 23 years of age for Mike. Pitch drilled into the gap in left center field. In for extra bases. One hop up against the wall. Trout has a 1-out double here in the 5th inning. And that's 10 total bases on the night for Trout.
They're not tricking him. Kind of curious to see where Castro was set up on this. Looked like a little bit of a cutter there. He's trying to get in that front door, maybe try and get in the kitchen of Mike Trout, but it leaked back over the plate. And again, that middle down section of the plate where he just annihilates pitches. Really not fooling Mike Trout at all this evening. The only bonus is it stayed in the yard.
So Trout aboard at second. Altuve will play right near the bag, trying to keep Trout's lead small. Albert Pujols at the plate. Feldman has been easy to run on this year. And Pujols takes a strike. 0-1, Feldman set. Tries to paint away, misses away. Still a big RBI man, Albert Pujols, the machine. Some have called him Fat Albert and maybe not lived to tell about it. 2-1. Jason Castro with another one of those off-speed pitches, just backhanding the pitch in the dirt. Trout has stolen third twice this year. Not a big lead. The 2-1 to Albert. Ground ball back up the middle. Slowly hit. Marwin to his left. He'll make the play. Pujols doesn't run like he once did. That's 2 outs. Trout at third base now for Howie Kendrick.
Yeah, he's definitely pacing himself these days, isn't he? Frustrated with himself. I expect him to get up over that 100 RBI mark relatively easily with this many games left in the way this offense is firing. Brent Strom coming out. But Feldman's got 93 pitches and nobody moving, and then Astros bullpen. Got one guy out there waving his arms around, but.
So the meeting goes on at the mound. Brent Strom out there with Jason Castro. Keep in mind, first base open. Eric Ibar is on deck. And I think in any case, as good as Kendrick is, it's hard to just go ahead and pass him intentionally or otherwise and face Eric Ibar.
Picking your poison right here. Kendrick's got great numbers against the Astros. Ibar does too.
Kendrick with a first inning single is now hit in 10 straight. And that .292 batting average on the season, right on his lifetime mark.
Did you happen to catch Mike Trout out of the corner of your eye right there?
No, I did not. Was he?
He was off to the races. It looked like they were real quick. Shut it down.
It's hard with a right-hand pitcher on the mound working from the stretch, but this guy can do just about anything he wants. What's with all the flashes going on in the stands right now?
I have no idea, but it looks pretty cool.
I don't know if we can get a shot of that. There it is. Suddenly the cameras on the phones have come to life. Ground ball back to the mound, knocked down by Feldman. He'll get the out at first, and that'll do it for the Angels. They get the double from Trout, leave him at third. We played 5, 2-1, Angels on top. Quote of the day is from Gaylord Perry on former Angels great Rod Carew. He's quoted as saying, "Grease ball, grease ball, grease ball. That's all I throw him, and he still hits them. He sees the ball so well, I guess he can pick out the dry side." I don't know about that, but
I don't
he
know what
was
he's trying to
some kind
imply,
of
but
good.
he threw a wet pitch or two.
Gaylord didn't try to cover things. In fact, I played with Gaylord Perry, one of the great competitors, and by the way, Rod Carew, just among the very best hitters that have ever played this game, and a longtime Angel.
I'm sensing a trend with some of the pitchers you've played with, Ash.
Oh, that's just awful. Maybe I learned from one of the best.
There you go.
7-time batting champ, Rod Carew. How about that?
Yeah.
How would you like to be able to finish your career and say, "I finished winning the batting title 7 times.
Good
I finished
grief.
at 328 over my major league career."
Not bad. He's got 3,053 hits. Can you name the only player to have more hits and not be in the Hall of Fame?
Well, Craig Biggio. I don't know.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Great call. 3,060 hits for Craig Biggio.
Yep.
In case you needed another argument to put Biz in there.
That's a way to back up your former teammate. Also a teammate of mine. And by the way, I didn't learn anything bad from Craig Biggio, so I don't know about these trends that you're
Probably got
sensing.
some bad habits of maybe putting your gum on the knob of your bat for good luck, or
Really?
maybe chewing the same gum a couple days in a row for good luck.
You know what? I never played that sort of game. I tried so hard to go the other way with the superstition that it became superstitious. I mean, it was ridiculous. You'd see all the guys. A guy would have to step on this step on his way to home plate or whatever it was. So I thought, well, I'll do it the other way then, and prove that I'm not superstitious. And then you start doing it, and what are you? You're superstitious ultimately. Strikeout of Grossman to start the 6th inning. We check in with Julia.
Ash, as Altuve comes up here, he's got to be feeling better after getting that first hit of the season off Jared Weaver in that last at bat. He was 0 for 10 coming into today's game and well aware of who was on the mound. Even saying today that he had some tricks up his sleeve when facing Weaver. Who knows what that means, but it means that it really irked him that he hadn't been able to get to Weaver yet this year, so he's got to be feeling better. Also, the superstition you guys were talking about, this guy hitting right now, not really superstitious at all. It's almost impressive how he's not. He'll use whatever bat his teammates pick for him. It's impressive.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Thanks, Julia. Swings through the changeup from Weaver. Weaver has commanded everything he's flipped to the plate tonight. But it's a funny thing about the game, and I don't know, what your thoughts were, but I tried so hard to prove to myself that I wasn't superstitious that, again, you start to become superstitious in your efforts out there.
Yeah, it's weird how that works, but I mean, I had little quirks that I had, going on and off the field, never stepped on the foul lines, things like that. If I spit on the field, I always covered it up with dirt and tried to clean it up out of respect to the field.
Your
and
daughters
stuff like
are
that.
here, and they just heard you talk about spitting on the field.
Yeah, well, if they were watching some of these games on TV, they'd probably see some other awful habits that I've had, making adjustments to certain equipment. But, it's just nature of the game. You got to go about doing those kinds of things. But Craig Biggio for me I hit 2-hole behind him, and it was exhausting.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. I eventually tried to get out of the way somehow.
Joe Negro was the most superstitious teammate I was ever aware of. It would have worn a guy out just to do some of these things. Drive right center field, long run, Trout. He'll get there and make the catch. Nice play in center field by Mike Trout. Jose Altuve now 1 for 3 on his night, but he had a bid right there.
Mike Trout's a fun guy to watch. Robbing a fellow number 27 out there. This ball was well struck by Altuve into that gap, but the jump that Trout got off the bat there was pretty impressive. And it's good to see, I'm sure on Mike Scioscia's part, to see that Mike Trout not have to go into the wall to make that play.
We talk about guys staying through baseballs, and I want to see that swing one more time. We'll do it after this first pitch on Chris Carter. But Altuve shows exactly what I think you would show to a hitter who's been having a tough time by pulling off the baseball. Watch him swing through this ball and stay through it toward right center field.
And he lets the ball travel, too.
Yep. That's just so perfect. Pitch on the hands, fouled back. A ball and a strike on Chris. I don't know how much Altuve gets looked at as a guy who's got some great fundamentals, but he does a lot of things well. Free swinger. And I think, quite frankly, for me, he's better when he is free swinging than when he starts taking a lot of pitches. Carter takes advantage of the shift. Hits a little slow ground ball through the right side, has a 2-out single, and has an 11-game hitting streak with that base hit.
It's kind of cool to see Chris Carter. I mean, we talk about the home runs all the time, but now 11-game hitting streak. Going with that fastball away and that extreme shift on the left side of the field. Just a lousy ground ball, and I love watching the pitchers' reaction after they do that.
It drives pitchers crazy. At least my experience with them, just hate it. So the catcher Conger out to the mound. 2 outs. Carter at first for Jason Castro. And one of those moments where if you're Hank Conger, probably thinking, okay, one bad pitch can turn this game right around. You don't want to see that happen.
That's a career-long 11-game hitting streak for Chris Carter. Keep pushing up those numbers, having himself a memorable year himself.
Castro, 0 for 2 on his night, has grounded out and flied out. Carter held on by Pujols. Mentioned that Castro struck out 3 times in last night's game. Well, he's a battler, and he's had his body just beat up behind the plate with pitches in the dirt and all the things that go on over the course of a long season. Never complains, just goes out and grinds it. 2-0 the count. Castro has had a chance to be back home on this road trip while in Oakland. Right on down the road from the Oakland Coliseum, the O.co.
I can't get over. Is his brother an identical twin?
Yes, yeah, isn't that something?
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw.
I mean, same size, build, facial features. I mean, it's incredible. I walked through, walking out, 10 minutes after a game, and I'm like, wow, Castro changed pretty quick. And no, it's his brother.
Met Jason's mom and dad in Houston, a month and a half, 2 months ago, and as nice of people as you want to run into. Mike Foltynewicz now, right-hander, loosening in the Astros pen. We're in the 6th inning. That base hit by Carter, number 4 on the night for Houston. Slow curveball bends in.
The zone is expanding for Weaver.
Yeah,
that's what Castro's talking about right now. Scott Feldman is not getting the high strike. We've seen Weaver get it. Now that outside zone seems to be creeping a little bit more for Jared Weaver.
I'll ask you the question. I have my opinion. Weaver being a 16-game winner, does that
reputation gets you a zone?
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. 2-2 the count. And now 3-2. That'll put Carter in motion at first base. Alex Presley waits on deck.
Good time to hit a gap for Jason Castro and see Chris Carter get on his horse. Can't sit on one pitch off Weaver, though.
3-2 pitch. Breaking ball, tap foul. Just getting a piece and staying alive as Castro. That's key to having some good at-bats. Angels put 11 runs on the board last night. They have pushed their runs per game average up to over the 4.9 mark. They're at 4.92. So they lead the American League well in front of second place Detroit. Oakland continues to slide, and with their offense going downward, their won-loss totals have gone in the wrong direction. They've continued to pitch well, but their offense, with the loss of Cespedes, has just turned the wrong direction. Tampa Bay, by the way, at the bottom of the American League. Carter goes, the pitch, strike 3 called. Castro caught looking. 0 for 3 on the night. That's 10 strikeouts now for Weaver. We've played 5.5. Angels still leading 2-1.
It's 2-1. 2015 Astros season tickets are on sale now. Enjoy some of the best seats at Minute Maid Park. Get the best value and receive great benefits throughout the season. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS now to reserve your seats.
To the bottom of the 6th inning we go. Shortstop Eric Ibar at the plate. Be followed by David Freese and Gordon Beckham. Third baseman Gregorio Petit drawn well in on the third base side. Showing bunt is Ibar, but takes the curve for a strike.
This game's being played a little bit better today, isn't it?
Well, this is baseball. Last night, I'm not sure what label you want to put on it, but
I think a debacle fits.
Well, 3.5 hours of that sort of thing is not fun for anybody to watch. Listen to some more big national names talking about baseball and what's been happening with these long games and how the fans are turning off. I hope Major League Baseball steps forward along with the Players Association this offseason and makes some changes as best they can. 1-2 the count. It's a game we love.
It's a game we love, and it has to evolve. You know, the times are moving.
Well, the thing is, it's devolved to this point.
Well, it's kind of stayed the course. It's such a tradition surrounding baseball, and I think they've kind of gotten stuck.
Tapper's foul. I'm not sure that I believe the game was ever played in the amount of time that it takes today to play. Now, there may be some extenuating reasons with that, but yeah, I think that the game can do a lot better in this regard.
There's a lot of things out of their control, too. Mainly at TV.
Well, again, the extenuating circumstances. But I do believe that there are areas that can be whittled away at. Just inside, it's 2-2.
Yeah, I can't remember what article or where I saw, but a minor league team actually, or a league like the Atlantic League, somewhere in A-ball, actually made the umpires enforce a lot of the rules that we've talked about. A 12-second pitch timer, guys not getting out of the box, a lot of those things. And
down on strikes, Ibar, first out here in the inning.
I mean, I'm not sure what I expected to see out of that situation, but it only shaved about 10 minutes off the game. Is that enough for you, or do you think it would actually shave that much time off the game to create the speed being moved up?
Well, based on what I think that I would have done were I the czar of Major League Baseball, I would anticipate a little more, but I saw the same thing. I was surprised at the limited amount of time taken off the ball game. So I guess that I'm open to seeing what could happen, but I would love to see efforts made to make the game more fan-friendly and more friendly, especially to the young kids who are making a choice. Are you a baseball fan or not?
I agree.
I want to see those kids fall in love with the game and want to come out and embrace the game for their lives. Heard a commentary from Jim Rome the other day, and it was not flattering.
Well, it's easy to pick it apart and find the negatives.
Well,
but I think a lot of the families that do come out to ball games, there's a lot of value in them coming out together as a family and watching this game. But I agree with you. You've got to set aside a good 3.5, 4 hours if you're going to sit there and entertain your kids here at a ball game.
Now, the point of the commentaries that I have heard is the perspective of, I've always loved the game, but I'm not enjoying watching what is necessary to watch a game today. And so again, that's one man's opinion.
I'll tell you what, the Angels have a guy in their dugout, so do the Astros, that I would pay and bring my family to come watch.
Sure.
Both are wearing number 27, too.
Talking about Jose Altuve and Mike Trout, no question. George Springer. There's a base hit through the right side. David Freese aboard a one-out single. Brings up Gordon Beckham. So Freese 1 for 3 on his night.
See that pitch count rising right at 105. Mike Poltznevich has been thrown down there for a little bit. Still 1 out, 1 ground ball gets you out of this situation.
Those first 3 innings took much too long for Scott, and they whittle away at your chances to survive deep into the night. Beckham with a strikeout and his flight out. High strike for Scott. Really gorgeous night. Very warm here in Southern California. Nice job by Castro.
Real nice.
Ball and a strike.
Keep that runner in double play position over there at first base with that tough block.
The expectation is when you've called a breaking ball that you're going to get down. And Castro comes up with it, keeps the glove down, uses the chest protector. Well done. Big wide open right side for Beckham. Catcher Hank Conger waits on deck. Could see Castro glance to his left, and the only logical reason in this ballpark for Castro to glance to his left would be to see who's on deck. You want to go about things with the 1-1 count. It's now 1-2 as Beckham gets the head way out in front.
Got a little excited on that hanging breaking ball.
Last night's game, 11-3, the Angels won it after the Astros led early 3-0. The Angels have a 37-man squad. Ground ball to Altuve. On to Marwin, back to first. They get the double play. First on the night, 4-6-3. That'll do it for the Angels in the 6th inning as Scott Feldman gets through what is likely his last inning. 2-1 Angels on top after 6.
Astros, and here's a look at our upcoming schedule presented by Progressive. We got one more here in Anaheim. And Ash gets to take that team flight home, join up with Brownie for 7 more at home, 4 against the Tribe, and then a weekend series to finish out the 2014 season at Minute Maid Park against the Seattle Mariners before heading out to Dallas and New York for that final road trip of 2014.
Got Corey and the kids coming with you on that final trip. They don't have to go to school, right?
Yeah, school's overrated. I don't know. We could ask her, but she had her choice. I know she'd be going on that New York trip for sure.
Day off up there in New York.
Yeah, that's the frightening part. Get to hit both Madison and Fifth.
Well, you guys would do it in style. We're in the 7th inning. 2-1 Angels. Mike Trout with a pair of home runs. The Astros have had an RBI single out of Robbie Grossman. 5-hitter Alex Presley leads it off, followed by Marisnik and Gonzalez. Jared Weaver has been outstanding. Drive down the right field side at the pole and goes foul.
Got my hopes up there, Alex. Turn and burn.
Presley got out in front just a bit too much. Presley makes that long walk back to home plate.
I think Jared Weaver's wondering where the offense is right now.
What was your best big that you had leaving home plate on a ball that you thought might stay fair?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I mean, I didn't have anything creative. It was stay fair, please, baby. You know, one of those kind of weak bigs.
I had a very negative attitude sometimes, and I was like, oh, that's going to go foul. You know, I knew I didn't have a chance, even if I was begging for it to stay fair. Oh, that's going foul.
I thought that only happened on the golf course.
No, that's a given too, man. I'm always going into the woods looking for the cart girl to get a beverage or something to try and get back on track.
I've been hitting a lot of foul balls here recently.
They play good Army golf.
Curveball out in front is Presley. 2-2 the count. I'll tell you what, when Weaver's fallen behind tonight, pretty good chance he goes to Uncle Charlie.
Been effective, throwing it for strikes. He's got that thing down to like 68 miles an hour too.
Can really pull the string, very much like Roy Oswald. Doesn't have the heater to back it up. But he has survived, and he's gunning for his 17th win of the year. .61 strikes now for Jared Weaver. '90th pitch of the night is a walk to Presley. So he reaches here in the 7th inning to get it started. Jake Marisnik now comes to the plate, 0 for 2 on his night.
Interesting to see what Tom Lawless does right now. You got a base runner out there to lead off this top of the 7th inning. You're getting late in the ball game, and you've got a pitcher that's around the plate quite a bit. At what point does he risk maybe the hit and run? Does he try and send Alex Presley? Is Marisnik up there to bunt? A lot of options right now, and you've got to start making some decisions to try and get that run on the board to tie it up, if not more.
Big hole on the right side. And we'll see how Tom Lawless plays this. Weaver put some hair on that throw over to first.
Well, that's your own.
Jared Weaver and Scott Feldman, and it's been a really good one from the hill tonight.
It's been nice. Scott Feldman looking good. 2 mistakes for Rockets. Other than that, been real nice.
He's been so good here over the last month. Trying to bunt. Marisnik pulls it back, but leaves it out there enough for the first base umpire as they make the appeal. Dana DeMuth says he went through. So that's the first time I've seen a left arm go up for the strike call.
That was impressive. There was a larger umpire back maybe in the era that you played that just kind of, was it Deckinger or something, just kind of gave it every once in a while, gave like a left-handed punch out.
Yep.
And I was like, what? It looks so awkward.
Yeah, right here for DeMuth. He had both hands on his knees, and I don't think he felt like anybody at home plate would see him with the right arm, so he just threw the left up.
It's hot.
Yeah,
He's
it is.
Exhausted over there making some calls. Just give it a quick little.
It's
little
late
punch.
September in Southern California, and it has been heated. The Angels used 22 players last night to pick up the W. 0-1 pitch, breaking ball, good bunt on the first base side. Weaver with the play. Sacrifice works. 1-4 on the putout, and into second base is Alex Presley.
Good job on Marisnick. See that early bounce gives Alex Presley a chance to get off early towards second base. That answers our question. He's going to sacrifice the runner over for Marwin Gonzalez, John Singleton, and Gregorio Petit.
Right-hander Jason Grilli getting loose in the bullpen for the Angels. That was intriguing down in the dugout. It looked like maybe Tom Lawless was trying to explain things to Jake Marisnick. I don't know. It still goes on in the dugout.
Yeah, you're right. They're still talking about it.
What do you think there?
I'm not sure. Maybe talking, obviously talking situation, what he'd like to see from the young man. I personally would have liked to have seen that first pitch, maybe try and drag that bunt. If he bunts his way on, he's got good wheels. If he puts down a semi-decent bunt, he's on first base, and you got first and second. Now you got an option to bunt Margot.
I wonder if that could have been part of the conversation. Look, yeah, we put the bunt on for you, but go ahead and see if you can get yourself a knock in the process early.
Well, it might, also, put the bat out there, act like you're going to bunt, take it back. If it's a strike, we'll put it on again. If it's ball one, then you go to the hit and run.
1-0 on Marwin Gonzalez. Presley in scoring position. He represents the tying run. And now a 2-0 count on Gonzalez, who's 1 for 2 on the night. Infield single and a strikeout looking. See the numbers on Marwin, 270 the batting average. He's really done a nice job. 38,041 on hand here tonight, so a good crowd. Might have expected this time of year with the Angels blowing away Major League Baseball that they'd have a packed house on hand.
The magic number dwindling, getting closer to clinching. It's a good time to be at the ballpark watching your home team celebrate.
What is the magic number right now for the Angels?
I think it was 5 coming into this game.
At the start of play today in the American League, Oakland, Kansas City, and Seattle were all right there together, bunched in that wild card hunt. Only 2 of those clubs will make it. Wouldn't it be amazing to see the Oakland A's, who for close to 5 months were the class of Major League Baseball, not make it into the postseason?
If they lose today, they would fall out of that wild card, right?
I believe that's
trail.
Well, that is the case. Kansas City and Seattle, the other 2 clubs, and let's take a look and see what's going on around Major League Baseball.
Because the Mariners have tied it up there in the 8th inning, up in Seattle playing against Oakland.
Yankees defeated Baltimore 3-2. Texas Rangers playing out the string. They win over Atlanta 3-2. The Braves kind of coming apart at the seams. Marwin swings through it and down on strike. Second time for Marwin tonight. And 2 outs now in the 7th inning. It'll bring up John Singleton. There's your wild card at the moment.
My goodness, what a mess. So if the Athletics lose to the Mariners, they flip. And the Athletics amazingly would be a half game out of one of those wild card spots. There's still a chance that there could be 3 AL West teams in there too.
It's kind of amazing, those teams involved. Kansas City has had such a long drought, and it's been hard to have their fans get totally involved with the Royals with as long as they've been a non-contender. Then you've got the Oakland A's and Seattle. We were just in Seattle and Oakland, and not great crowds. Pennant fever doesn't appear to have been caught. It's that slow curveball from Weaver.
Yeah, Seattle's interesting to me just because their football team obviously is very good and draws extremely well, and they give a lot of credit to that 12th man up there in Seahawkville. But their soccer team draws extremely well too, and they got a gorgeous baseball field. But I'm sure you put a pennant up there, they'll start showing up again.
Well, you would like to hope so. 0-1 pitch. Pop foul left side. That'll be back in the seats. 0-2 quickly on John Singleton. Mike Foltynewicz continues to loosen in the Astros pen. The Angels have a right-hander throwing in their bullpen. Jared Weaver had 99 pitches, so he's getting close to the end of the line. Kevin Jepson, Jason Grilli is the right-hander throwing in the pen. He is not a two-headed monster. It is Jason Grilli. Go to second base, and that's going to kick into left field. But Marwin was unaware of where the, or make that Presley, unaware of where the baseball went. Weaver put some heat on that one.
Well, Alex knows where it hit him. It ricocheted off his skull.
That helmet coming into play.
Would have been a close play if the throw was made. Tell you what, Eric Ivar is pretty lucky they didn't skip off his helmet and get him in the face. That's why as an infielder you try, it doesn't work out all the time because it's such a timing play at second base on some of these pickoffs, but you try and do your best to get in front of the bag so that that doesn't happen.
Also, you try to coach to the pitchers all during spring training, throw the ball over the bag, and don't try to make a perfect pickoff throw.
Actually got away from Weaver.
Pitch number 100, not even close. It's 1-2, and Eric Ivar.
Eric Ivar's telling him right now, you got great stuff. Don't worry about this runner at second base. You go out there and try and get this guy at the dish. He's already got 2 punch outs on Singleton. Don't worry about Alex Presley.
And another spin towards second base. Ivar nowhere near the bag.
All right, never mind.
Yeah.
Shows you what I know.
See, I don't have any problem with that play where the foot comes off the rubber. It's that spin move that I think is unfair on the base runners that I'd love to see the game take away. The 1-2 got him swinging. For Singleton, third time he has struck out tonight, 0 for 3. And the Astros go down quietly in the 7th, leave a runner at second. Bottom of the 7th inning. Jose Altuve closes in on Craig Biggio's single-season hit record in Anaheim. That's tomorrow as the Astros and Angels play for the final time of this 2014 season. Pre-game live starts Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. only on Comcast Sportsnet.
Tomorrow's pitching matchup is brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. It's going to be a warm one. And it's going to be Dallas Keuchel, the left-hander for the Houston Astros. Looking for that 11th win on the season. And if he does well enough, I'm sure that ERA sinks under that 3 mark. Doing quite well. Hector Santiago stepping up. Great ERA, even though the record doesn't reflect it. He's got decent numbers against a hard-hitting AL West. 3.73 ERA. And having himself a pretty good season also. Battle of lefties.
The Astros go to the bullpen. They bring on hard-throwing right-hander Mike Foltynewicz. Outing number 12 for Mike. One surprising set of numbers for me. 16 hits allowed in 12 and 2/3 innings for Folty. He has struck out right at a man an inning. Faces Hank Conger to start it. And a ground ball on 2 hops to Singleton. He'll take it himself. And out number 1 here in the 7th.
Yeah, Folty pitched last night, 1 inning, gave up 1 hit, also had a strikeout. Yeah, you'd think a guy throwing 100 miles an hour wouldn't give up a hit an inning.
I'm not sure what that says to me with that kind of arm. I would expect the hits to be well below innings pitched for Foltynewicz. Strikeouts to be at least 1 per. But it is just the first foray into the big leagues for Mike. But I think he's a big part of what should be this positive future now for the Astros if things come together.
Yeah. You know, he's cutting his teeth a little bit, getting that experience out of the way. He's going to learn that, especially working with Brent Strom, you know, locate a little bit better, get those secondary pitches over the plate. Take everybody off that heater, because right now the one pitch that everybody's guessing that he can throw consistently for a strike is the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. As soon as he plants the seed that he's got 2 other pitches to get you out with, then you can start working.
96 on that sinking heater. 3-0 the count. 9-hitter Colin Cowgill at the plate. Kevin Jepson now right-hander getting loose for the Angels. 3-1 for Folty. Following Cowgill, leadoff man Cole Calhoun. Darren Downs gets it loose, left-hander for the Astros. High chopper off the plate. Petit will try to barehand and fire. And very fortunate that John Singleton stopped this throw. It's an infield single with 1 out.
Tell you what, that was a good effort by Petit right there. Nothing you can do on a colossal chopper like that, but you definitely have to give a ton of credit to John Singleton right there for keeping that ball in front of him. That gets away from him. Got base runners everywhere. That's going to bring Tom Lawless out.
So 1 out, a runner aboard. And now Darren Downs has been summoned. So Lawless wants the left-hander with the left hand hitting Cole Calhoun coming to the plate. Calhoun's 0 for 3 on the night. So Foltynewicz gives up a 1-out single, and he's done with his night. Bottom of the 7th inning, Angels in a close one on top 2-1. Darren Downs coming in out of the pen. We'll be right back.
Our last Dollar Dog Thursday of 2014 is September 18th. Join us to see the Astros take on the Cleveland Indians at 7:10 p.m. and scarf down some Dollar Dogs for the last time this season. Guys.
Thanks, Julia. And that should be another good one. I don't know. I haven't taken advantage of those Dollar Dogs. Julia, have you been a part of the festivities with those?
At home, I have not. But there's so much good food at the ballpark.
Yeah.
I usually go for the pulled pork tacos first.
Actually, I haven't had that either. I took advantage in Seattle with your recommendation about the tacos. Very good. Blummer, what's been your favorite ballpark fare this year?
I have to say that Arizona Diamondback double dog or whatever.
D-bat.
D-bat. Oh, excuse me, Julia. The aficionado on
it was unforgettable.
Hot dog. You ain't lying. That was back when I was eating anything I wanted, and that was well worth it.
And I had the Venom dog. Yours was the what now?
The D-bat dog.
D-bat. I had the Venom dog. And I can only speak for mine, but it was very good. I had just a few bites.
Extremely good.
Good stuff. Those were big enough for a family, I think.
Yeah. Actually, I think that what was left of my D-bat dog ended up going with the guys on the truck on the bus back to the hotel.
And I think, I don't know how many guys were in the truck that day, but I think they were all full before they finished it.
Yep.
Leadoff man Cole Calhoun at the plate. Make that 2-1 Angels on top here in the 7th inning. Darren Downs comes on now to face the left-handed bat. And gets Calhoun to offer on the first pitch. So Tom Lawless kind of showing that he's willing to go lefty versus lefty, although when he first joined the club he said he's not specifically into that sort of thing.
He feels at this level if you've got the stuff you should be able to get anybody out, but opting for the matchups here.
Of course, if anybody has the stuff, that would be Mike Foltynewicz.
He has the potential to have great stuff. I agree.
Downs in his 3rd year in the big leagues. Started with the Tigers. 2-1 out of the pen. About a 4.25 ERA. And now 1-2 the count. The Astros have turned one double play tonight. That's been the only twin killing on the night for either side. And now Jose Veras gets loose in the Astros pen. As a manager in September, you have the freedom of getting a lot of guys going. You've got so many bodies available.
Well, there's all kinds of options.
Calhoun gets just a piece, fouls it off. 1-2 the count. Mr. Mike Trout waits on deck. One of those intriguing scenarios. If you get Calhoun and don't move the runner Cowgill, then you almost have to face Trout. If you move the runner on an out, then you've got first base open. Is it a shot where you might walk Trout? Of course, Albert Pujols waits on deck. So it's so tough, and I think it sets up well for Trout in this order. Pitch in the dirt, kicks away from Castro. Into second base is Cowgill. It'll be a wild pitch.
And that scenario you just talked about is going to be confronted by Tom Lawless now with that wild pitch and allowing Cowgill to get to second base. That first base is going to be open unless Calhoun walks and gets down there to clog up the bases. But if that base is open and you've got Trout up there, what do you do?
See that conversation down there. Looked to me like one of those where shortstop says to the runner who just slid, I was letting you know you didn't have to slide, or sorry, I wasn't sure, one way or the other.
Yeah, there's a common courtesy out there. Hands up means stand up.
2-2 the count on Calhoun.
And if I'm looking at this right, Calhoun is hitting .293 against left-handed pitchers, if you're curious.
Runner goes, pitch in the dirt. So there's a stolen base, and now stopping at third is Colin Cowgill. So he was wild pitch to second. Downs forgets about him enough that Cowgill can take off for third, and he steals it. And now he's 90 feet away, 3-2 the count on Cole Calhoun. And so Downs comes in to get the left-hander, and it hasn't worked out so well.
Back-to-back awful pitches. There's nothing Jason Castro can do with any of those. And I thought there was a real opportunity for Cowgill, like he did, make a big turn and think about going home. But I think with Calhoun up at the plate now, Trout on deck, you got to hold your ground right there. Smart move by Cowgill, but Castro sprinted back there and threw a seed to Darren Downs at home plate.
Cowgill now 4 for 4 in stolen bases this year. Infield comes in. From the stretch, Downs has it fouled on the ground. It's a big run from the Angels' perspective, I guess from the Astros' perspective as well.
Yeah, it sure is. As that team that's leading, always getting those insurance runs late in the game, make you feel a little bit more comfortable. At the same time as the Astros, you can't give these runs up. Darren Downs pitched well last time he pitched on the 10th up in Seattle. Went 2 innings, walked 1, struck out 2 in 11 pitches he threw. Not bad.
Oh, that's a good-looking pitch.
We've seen that called for a strike, and I think that's what Jason Castro is turning around and telling the home plate umpire, Mr. Barrett.
Yeah, I think Jason Castro is doing just that, saying, you know, there might have been some of us called out on that pitch tonight. Calhoun gets away with it, draws the 1-out walk, runners at the corners, and Mike Trout at the plate. And now there's really no place to put Trout.
Playing with fire right here. You got a first and third situation, and they are going to intentionally walk Mike Trout to get Pujols up at the plate with the bases loaded. When would you ever think that scenario would come about?
I wonder if it's ever happened for Albert Pujols. Mike Trout has homered twice and doubled. 10 total bases on the night. And he's certainly a guy you don't want to face in this scenario, but as Blummer mentions, Albert Pujols waiting on deck. I doubt that this has ever happened to Albert.
This is amazing. Now I want to see the reaction from Mike Trout. I think we've got some tape on it to show the replay of what Mike Trout is thinking as he sees this. He's ready to hit right here, and he looks back there. I'm not sure he was actually convinced that the Astros were going to do this. Tom Lawless is going to come out.
So Lawless heads to the mound. Bases loaded, 1 out. Key situation. Jose Veras has been summoned. He will come on now. 7th inning, 2-1 Angels. They're trying to add to it. on the Angels lead. We're in the 7th inning, but a big situation in the ballgame. Jose Veras comes on to work it with the bases loaded, 1 out, and Albert Pujols at the plate, a guy who has 12 career grand slams. See the numbers on Veras. He's held the opposition hitters to a 208 mark. Most of that outstanding work against the left-hand hitters. Of course, Pujols will swing it from the right side. And the Astros will try to get a double play, a second on the night, to get out of this inning.
My goodness. That's why you hang around the game. You play long enough, you watch it long enough, you're going to see things you really didn't anticipate seeing. Who would have thought in all of Albert Pujols' years, with the astonishing numbers he's put up, that he would be in this situation right now, being intentionally walked to the plate?
What impact does this have, do you think, on Albert Pujols? Does it anger him?
Oh, man. I don't know if I'd want to tick off a real good hitter like Albert Pujols. But again, he's not in the prime of his career, so to speak, but he's still having himself a pretty darn good year and still a great hitter.
In the prime of a contract, that's for sure. And the Angels would love to see him produce right here.
I mean, there's got to be all kinds of emotions. He's used to being the Mike Trout.
Yeah.
But part of it might be, wow, are they taking me for granted? Am I not good enough? Or at the same time, I think there's more of an edge still to Albert Pujols that puts him in this box and says, okay, you want to walk him to get to me, I'm going to make you pay.
Takes a first strike, maybe surprising. Slider stays inside. Base runners now for the Angels. Down at third, Colin Cowgill. Cole Calhoun at second base, and at first, Mike Trout. One and one on the machine. Fastball thrown right by at 95.
Got a little bit of a buzz out of the crowd on that one. Mano right there.
So if you're Veras in a 1-2 count, you've just thrown the fastball by Pujols. Always that guessing game going on back and forth.
Credit Jose Veras for getting ahead in the count too and being gutsy with that fastball.
The 1-2. Slider misses.
Good eye. And I wonder how much of Albert Pujols is thinking, am I going to drive the ball? This is another thing that goes into it. Yeah, you might be a little upset. Am I going to try and hit a bomb? But here with 2 strikes, we've seen Albert Pujols in this series in a lot of games against the Astros hitting away from that shift. So I wonder if he's thinking now, trying to let that ball get deep and go towards that right field side and just keep the train moving.
2-2. Slider just inside.
You've seen that slider from Veras be kind of erratic. This one backing up. What I mean by backing up is it doesn't break in that traditional fashion away from the right-handed hitter, kind of backs up towards him. Now what? 3-2.
And ball 4. So 3 straight walks, one of those intentional. It looked like Veras wanted an explanation as to where that pitch missed, but watching it was clear that it was off the outside edge. So there's run number 3 for the Angels. They lead 3-1, still 1 out and the bases juiced.
Yeah, trying to get that one to come back out. Over that outside corner, I agree. I think it was outside. I know he wanted a little bit more from the home plate umpire. But considering who you're facing, it's got to be a better pitch than that.
I thought the previous backup slider had a better chance of being called, but against Pujols, to me, that's the point. You're not going to get it against him. Howie Kendrick at the plate. He offers on the first fastball and fouls it.
Nice play by Jose Mota in the booth next to us. He had a glove on and everything.
Guys loaded for bear over there, huh?
Nice grab.
Barris in front 0-1, and now Barris steps off the rubber. Mike Trout at second base. Nobody near him, and yet Barris showing attention there. He's not going anywhere. Line drive into left field, solid base hit. 1 run scores, that's all they'll get. Kendrick with an RBI single. 4-1 Angels, and still just 1 out.
That was a hanging fastball from Barris. Trying to hit that outside corner again. This one leaks back out over the plate. The way Howie Kendrick's been swinging the bat against the Houston Astros, foregone conclusion. If he gets a mistake up in the zone, he's going to rip it somewhere. It's actually a little surprised to see DiSarcina not try and challenge Robbie Grossman's arm out there in left field, even though that ball was hit extremely well from Howie Kendrick.
Well, Eric Ibar comes to the plate. It has not been a solid effort here from the bullpen.
Just base runners. The amount of base runners these guys are getting on of late. They just have a tendency to come around and score.
5 consecutive hitters have reached here in the 7th inning. After that leadoff ground ball out, Hank Conger grounding out to first.
Still only 1 out in this inning.
One ball and no strikes. Well, the Angels are on that string of scoring 7 runs or more. And with the bases loaded, might be their inning to have something big happen.
Is that not amazing? They had a big inning last night, scoring 7, I believe, in the 5th.
7-run inning, and that was it. They added some more following, yeah.
But they just piled on. I mean, they are relentless.
2-0 the count.
And the approach, we talked about it before with some of the guys at the top of the order, Mike Trout, Cole Calhoun. These guys are taking pitches and working counts. They are up there feeling pretty darn good about themselves.
Kevin Chapman, left-hander, loosening in the Astros pen now. Ground ball slowly hit. They won't get 2. They will get an out at first base. RBI ground out for Ibar makes it 5-1 as the other runners move up. But 2 outs now in the inning. It'll bring up David Freese.
Another tough break for the Astros. You want that ball hit a little bit harder to be able to turn that double play. Not enough on it for Marwin to be able to make that exchange with Altuve.
3 runs in here in the 7th inning. 5-1. And we mentioned the Angels on a 9-game winning streak. They have scored no less than 5 runs in any one of those games, and they've matched that tonight. Freese takes a strike.
How about the last time the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim scored less than 5 runs in a game was September 3rd against these very Astros.
And again, that goes back to prior to the 9-game winning streak. Angels were on a streak when they came into Houston, and the Astros snapped it. Line shot and a sliding play by Altuve. So the out recorded on the line drive, that'll do it for the Angels. But again, 3 runs in the 7th inning. It's a 5-1 Halo lead.
And as promised earlier in the game, it's time to show you the AT&T fan photo tonight. It's Marissa taking a selfie with Jose Altuve. Nicely done. Remember to tweet your photos to hashtag CSNHFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Blummer?
We're going to take a look at Jared Weaver's day. Thanks for throwing it up here, Julia. This guy's been impressive. Going for that 17th win, and he's in line for it after that 3-run inning from the Angels offense. But he's just done a great job on seemingly toying with the Houston Astros, throwing a variety of pitches all over the zone. Getting a pretty generous strike zone also from home plate umpire Lance Barrett. But you got to give a ton of credit to what Jared Weaver's done. He leaves this game 7 innings pitched, only giving up 4 hits, 1 earned run. He's had 1 walk and 12 strikeouts of Houston Astros. Really not a very stressful afternoon. Or evening, for that matter.
Either way.
Gave up that 1 base hit. He's given up a couple base hits. But that big one to Robbie Grossman was the only one that did any kind of damage. As you look at Kevin Jepson, who's in the game, making his 71st appearance. Fantastic ERA out of that bullpen at 2.21. Batting average against for those right-handers under 200. Dexter Fowler steps in. Pinch hit. All kinds of stuff going on, Ash. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So Dexter Fowler at the plate to lead off here in the 8th inning.
So much for your day off, Dexter. We need some help.
Pinch hitting for Gregorio Petit. 270 the mark for Dexter. Eight homers on his year. Jepson with that slider under the knees. A ball and a strike. Angels with singletons in the 1st and 3rd innings. The Astros put their run on the board in the 3rd, but then a big 3 in the 7th, and Dexter scalds one down the right field side, 1 hop up against the wall. Fowler with a leadoff double here in the 8th inning. Talk Cy Young in the American League. These are the names most likely to get attention: Corey Kluber, Jared Weaver, Felix Hernandez, and Chris Sale. You think, Blummer?
I think it's going to be this guy right here. Just considering the turnaround that the Seattle Mariners have had, although those guys alongside him have unbelievable numbers. Chris Sale, sub-2. King Felix left that game and is in line for no decision up there in Seattle, but I'm just a huge King Felix fan. I know we get to watch him pitch a lot, but what he's done and helped turn around that ball club up in Seattle has been awesome.
Robbie Grossman with a fly ball to right field. Right in his tracks is Calhoun. Now he'll cut loose the arm as Dexter digs for 3rd. Dexter makes it, but Cole Calhoun can air it out from right. Out number 1.
How are you feeling about that, Cy Young?
You know, I haven't looked at the numbers real closely. Jared Weaver in a spot now positioned to win his 17th tonight. But I'm kind of with you. I guess I love the year that's being had by Chris Sale. The numbers are fantastic. He doesn't have nearly the innings of Felix Hernandez, and therefore I probably lean to the King.
I agree.
I think that means an awful lot when you're talking about at the end of the year who went out there time after time, gave his club the innings, the quality innings, and it's probably Felix Hernandez as Jose Altuve looks for a 2nd knock on the night. Altuve 1 for 3. Chance to pick up a run here. It's 5-1 Angels. Astros have been doubled in hits, 10-5. Big gap in left center field. See a lot of pasture out there. Mike Trout shading toward right, and the right fielder Calhoun shaded toward the line. Have to keep an eye on what is going on with that batting race in the American League. Slider chop foul. 337 for Altuve, 334 for Victor Martinez. Some of the other games tonight: Toronto a 6-3 winner over Tampa Bay. The White Sox down Minnesota 5-1. Detroit wins a big one over the Indians 5-4. But right along with it, Kansas City lays it on the Red Sox 7-1. So those two clubs just tread water with each other. Oakland, KC, and Seattle start the day with a shot into the postseason. Just two will make it. And the Oakland A's, I don't know.
Sonny Gray going punch for punch with King Felix.
Dodgers lead the Giants 17-0 in the 8th inning. How about that?
Huh? Is that a Raiders 49ers matchup?
A couple of early touchdowns, a field goal in the second half. Nice job by Conger. That was all out. Absolute full sellout here to block a pitch.
It's one way to endear yourself to the pitcher with a runner on third base. Do whatever you can.
Not to mention your manager, especially if Mike Scioscia's your skip. He could not be more pleased. Two and two on Altuve. Hammers one left field, back at the track. It's over the left fielder's head. Cowgill will bring it back in. Not before Altuve has an RBI double, his second hit of the night, and that's big. It drives in run number 2. The Astros get on the board here in the 8th inning.
Not sure Altuve could hit a ball much harder than that. Just didn't elevate it. Hit this one on too much of a line. Still able to get it over the head of Colin Cowgill, but you can see Altuve thought he barreled this one up pretty good to get it out of here, but this is a deep left field here in Anaheim.
Scorekeeper here on the scoreboard anyway felt that the Angels were so hot he was going to give the Angels a run on that drive by Altuve. It went to 6-1, but now it's 5-2 where it belongs. Still one out here in the 8th inning. Chris Carter a chance to get a big swing. So Altuve 2 for 4 on the night. You keep plugging with a couple of hits and there's nothing to worry about.
Stud. Nice and compact. Quick to that contact point and stays right through it again. You can still stay through a pitch, pulling it too, just like he did right there. Saw him do it to the opposite field gap, even though it was ran down by Mike Trout.
Slider. 1 and 2 on Carter. It is game number 8 on this 9-game road trip. Last swing out west for the Astros. Game number 18 of 19 on the year between these two clubs. And the Angels have gotten the best of it. They've won 11 of the first 17. Slider got him. Carter down on strikes. Third time for Chris tonight. He has a 1 for 4 night. It'll bring up Jason Castro. Jose Altuve and Ty Cobb. What kind of conversation is that? It's an appropriate one.
Check out the bottom note. First player since Cobb to reach 200 plus hits, 40 plus doubles, and 52 plus stolen bases in a season. So not only those are epic numbers, historic numbers. My goodness. How about those numbers right there? 200. He's right on. I don't know what I'd do if I saw my name up there next to Ty Cobb. What's Altuve thinking right there? Is he like, oh yeah, just another day at the yard?
And I wear the uniform a lot better than that guy.
Oh,
he might start there.
Well, I think Ty Cobb's bat probably outweighed Altuve's bat by about 15 ounces. Spikes are a little bit more sharp, too, I believe.
It was an older tree.
Petrified.
It was a little more dense. Castro with a 1-1 count. Yeah, I don't know.
Ty Cobb?
When I think back to Ty Cobb, I would love
to
see.
What do you think, Ash, when you were watching him run around
Oh,
those
that's
base
nice. That's nice. And I'm not going to tell you now that you put it that way.
I apologize to the fans out there for being the buzzkill.
Well spotted fastball, 1-2 the count. I don't know what you think, but I'm not so sure that the game that Ty Cobb played back in those days was quite the same game that's being played today.
I agree. Just the equipment alone is drastically different. That's why I appreciate what Altuve's doing.
Yeah, I think we're talking about really two different ball games. Two and two the count on Castro.
Fun debate, though. I mean, you got to love that. I wonder, it'd be nice to have Ty Cobb up here sitting here. Say, hey, could you play during this era? What do you think?
Now, Babe Ruth, I think, would have been probably a big star in any era, and he could have also been a swingman going after Joey Chestnut in the hot dog eating contest.
Oh yeah, right after those barbecued hot dogs, huh?
Could have been an offensive tackle, maybe that left tackle you so covet in the NFL. Castro down on strikes. Big strikeout, back-to-back. Carter and Castro down. Astros get a run. It's 5-2 Angels.
Follow all the pennant races with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Get this award-winning app for your smartphone or tablet for the rest of the season for only $9.99. Visit the App Store or MLB.com today.
We go to the bottom of the 8th. Matt Dominguez comes on defensively at third base, and on the hill, left-hander Kevin Chapman will take over.
Last time we saw Kevin was up in Seattle on the 8th. Inning in a third. Gave up one hit, had a couple of punch outs. Trying to correct that walk to strikeout ratio.
He's come back from AAA, more effective against the first hitters that he faces. And that's one of the big keys for Kevin. Here in the 8th inning, he'll face 7, 8, 9. Gordon Beckham leads it off. Hank Conger and Colin Cowgill to follow. Well, your gang is hanging in here.
They sure are. A little concerned. We got a big softball game tomorrow. Opening day for softball tomorrow.
Is the owner of the club aware that your kids are staying out this late?
He is now.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because the co-owner is sitting right here.
Well, apparently the co-owner will share some blame if things go wrong, huh?
It's going to be fine. Got our ace sitting over here.
Ball and a strike. Beckham 0 for 3 on the night. And in there has struck out and grounded into a double play. Hot shot off the glove of Altuve into center field. That one hopper had Altuve playing a little bit of Olay action.
That might be a play that Altuve feels he should make.
Yeah, I would think so. It is a base hit. Hit number 11 for the Angels tonight. We got who are those people in the booth?
We got Audrey and Mia back here, and it works out well enough to where they're both playing on the same softball team tomorrow. And Audrey's not feeling too well, so we're not sure if she's going to go tomorrow. But Mia in the blue shirt back here is going to be she's going to be the starting pitcher for us. Right here, Mia's my daughter. It's going to be our starting pitcher. Audrey plays some first base and outfield. And lean in here, Kayla. Kayla had a soccer game today. Yep, she's pretty excited about it. Back here we got Ava leaning in. She's a big fan of the Astros and Orbit.
Very nice, and I saw Corey back there on the second row getting ready to take over if you mess up anymore tonight.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time over the years cleaning up my messes.
Nobody out here in the 8th inning. Great job, isn't it?
It's fun.
Hank Conger's 1 for 3. Showed bunt on that previous pitch. Shows it again. Chapman has it bunted out in front of the plate. Castro took a look at second and then realized it was going to be really close. Got the out at first base. So the sacrifice works. 2-4 on the putout. Safely into second is Beckham. Now you get a sense of how important every one of these games must feel to Mike Scioscia.
I was thinking the same exact thing. Already has a 3-run lead. Bunting that runner into scoring position to try and get one more. Either that or he's thinking about the 8 games straight of 7+ runs.
Keep tacking on, boys. And this could be the final inning of opportunity for the Angels bats. In the 9th inning, the Astros have Presley, Marisnik, and Gonzalez due up. Pitch in for a called strike. Cowgill, the 9-hitter. Take. It's a lot of what the game is becoming.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily translating into that high on-base percentage that I think everybody was hoping for by taking those pitches either.
So
and it's a league-wide thing. It's not just one team either.
Major League Baseball wide, no question. Major League on-base percentage. Now, wait a minute. I've got to get the right figure here. If you factor in the pitchers, it's at 310 right now. Is that possible? Now let's revise on that one. 317 is what I'd recently seen. Oh, and 2 the count. And now 1-2. First base open. Leadoff man Cole Calhoun waits on deck. .316 now is the American League on-base percentage. .316. So, no, it's not translating at all.
But strikeouts are up.
Strikeouts up. And you know, if you think hitters are going to keep taking and then they wind up with 2 strikes, and strikeouts likely will go up. But, again, it's not translating.
And the constant talk is how the offense league-wide is down. And we've talked about the numbers about how well hitters hit on that first pitch and when they're ahead in the count.
Yep. And that's the thing. The first pitch is clearly the best pitch for major league hitters. Batting average, home runs. It's just a big-time offensive pitch. But the philosophy now is that you take and you wear out starting pitchers and you get to the bullpen. And the bullpens have better numbers than the starters. And so it's a philosophy that statistically is not bearing out right now.
Houston Street from the Angels bullpen on an aggressive hack with 2 strikes from Colin Cowgill. Staying alive.
2-2 the count. Chapman a check of the runner. Cowgill spoils again. So we stay at 2-2.
How about do like Japan does, and instead of having the bullpens out beyond the outfield fences, put them right behind the dugouts, dig a hole and just put them back there.
Is that what they have?
Oh yeah,
yeah?
It's hilarious. Yeah, you're in the tunnel. We opened up there with Tampa Bay in 2004, and there's no bullpen on the field. It's right behind the dugout. And I mean, you're down there getting loose. You get the phone call, and when they call you in, you come out sprinting out of the dugout.
Down on strikes, Cowgill. Breaking ball gets him. Second out of the inning. Beckham still at second base, and the leadoff man, Cole Calhoun, comes to the plate.
Good slider from Chapman.
Six strikeouts for Houston pitching. 14 strikeouts of Astros hitters. Scott Feldman started, went 6 innings, allowed 8 hits and 2 runs. Unfortunately for Scott, he's in a position where he could pick up the loss tonight. Jared Weaver went 7 innings as the starter for the Angels. 4 hits, 1 run against Weaver. He walked 1, struck out 12. Kevin Jepsen has struck out another pair. So again, 14 strikeouts for the Astros hitters. Angels trying to make it the first 2 games here in the series. And a win tonight would give the Angels 10 consecutive wins. You get to that point of the season, and sometimes it happens. Clubs will just gain the confidence, and that's where the Angels seem to be right now. 0-2 pitch. Laying off is Calhoun. He's taken all the way till he gets a couple of strikes. $38,000 plus on hand here this evening. You guys 1 car back home tonight or 2?
2. I think the crew's heading off right now.
Pitch fouled left side into the seats. Castro and Chapman having a little meeting in front of the mound. Part of what I have felt about trying to speed up the game is that you limit the visits from catchers and coaches, and every time somebody goes to the mound, it's a visit. Second one takes the pitcher out of the ball game, so you cut back in some of those areas.
Well, there's no limit on how many times a catcher can go out there, and that might be one you have to cut down on.
And again, for me, I don't worry about what hitters do if they want to do anything. And I've played in games where umpires said, go ahead, to me as a catcher. Go ahead, have him throw the ball. I'll call it a strike right here. And the hitter comes running up and saying, what's the deal? Get in the box. If you don't stay in the box, you're likely to have a strike called on you. Calhoun down on strikes. The tag will be applied. That'll do it. Yes, Calhoun, excuse me. And that'll do it for the Angels, but they're on top 5-2 as we go to the ninth. Comcast Sportsnet is presented by TXU Energy. Get TXU Energy free nights, free electricity all year long. Now with even more free hours. Call 1-866-CALL-TXU. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. So we get set for the top of the ninth inning. The Astros trailing 5-2. Houston Street comes on now to close it for the Angels.
Right-handed closer that came over from San Diego. 37 saves in 40 appearances. That matches a career high. He did that last in 2006 for the Oakland A's. Oddly enough, but that ERA at 1.33. Low batting average against. Fastball, slider, changeup. Not going to overpower you, but he can overpitch you.
Presley, Marisnik, and Gonzalez due up here in the inning. Alex Presley will stand in 0 for 2. He's also drawn a walk. Jared Weaver trying to win his 17th on the year. And Houston Street starts things with a strike. .271 career saves for Street. 10th year in the big leagues. Ground ball slowly hit to second. Kendrick is there, and out number 1. Jake Marisnik comes to the plate. A ball game that has seen Mike Trout slam a couple of home runs tonight. Numbers 33 and 34. He's also doubled, and he's been walked intentionally to load him up for Albert Pujols. Pujols then walked, driving in a run, and for Pujols his 94th RBI of the year. Jose Altuve 2 for 4 on his night with an RBI double. Hot shot through the left side. Marisnik's aboard. A 1-out single here in the ninth inning. So Marisnick 1 for 3 on his night.
Salvage.
Marwin's 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Good swing by Jake Marisnick.
Real nice swing. Nice and compact.
Angels bring Albert Pujols right up in behind Marisnick. They would like to keep the double play in order, and I think that's a very good way to play things. Marwin takes a strike. Well, we mentioned the Dodgers 17-0 winners over the Giants. A big series in San Francisco. Arizona downs the Padres 10-4. Washington a winner 10-3 over the Mets. Cincinnati beats the Brewers 5-1. The Brewers badly in need of every win they can get right about now. Philadelphia stops Miami. Cubs winners at Pittsburgh, and talk about teams that need wins, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Marwin slices one foul down the left field side. Long run and a diving effort that comes up short in left field, but quite an effort by Colin Cowgill.
That hustle gets him a cheer. Yeah, but that NL Central and wild card, they're having the same issues that the AL is. Teams desperately trying to go out there and get some wins and get back in this thing.
And as you mentioned, the AL, Oakland has defeated Seattle in 10 innings, 3-2. How about this effort? Oh, they're tied. That's in the top of the 10th inning. Excuse me. So it's not over. Oakland leads 3-2. Marwin hits one in the air right field, not deep enough. Calhoun is there. And the second out here in the 9th inning. That'll bring up John Singleton, who's had a long night, 0 for 3 with 3 punch-outs.
That means you can look at this two ways. Chance at redemption, or a chance to do something that you really don't want to do.
Talking golden sombrero?
Yeah, it's no bueno.
For professional ball players, 3 strikeouts, the sombrero, 4 the golden sombrero. As Pujols plays back at first base, Jake Marisnick heads on down to second base. No longer a double play needed. So the Angels allow Marisnick to take a bag. Fielder's indifference?
Yes. That would have to be, wouldn't it?
Believe so.
Unless we're in Oakland. It's a stolen base there.
And stats are needed for their guys. It's been a lengthy road trip. Started with 3 games in Oakland. On to Seattle for 3. Off day in Anaheim to start things, and now second of 3 games here. One more homestand, one more road trip, each a week. And now 1 and 2 on Singleton. Down to a pitch. Angels fans coming to their feet. Jeff Blum folding up shop. And the 1-2. It's that splitter in the dirt. I think Conger's done a nice job behind the plate. Looked like that one might have taken a bite out of the right hand. Marisnick aboard at second. But it's up to John Singleton with a 2-2 count. And down on strikes. 4th time tonight for Singleton. A long 0 for 4, and the Angels have done it. They've won 10 in a row now, and 2 straight over the Astros. One more meeting between the clubs. That is tomorrow afternoon. Mike Trout, the big man offensively here this evening. 5-2 Angels.